VFL action to kick off your Super Saturday on Fox Footy. Collingwood and Brisbane coming to you from Barry Plant Park in Coburg. These two teams' wins have been hard to come by so far this year. The Pies 4 and 8, the Lions 2 and 9, but their form lines have been trending in the right direction in recent times. Joel Peterson alongside Collingwood AFLW Vice Captain Geordie Allen, former North Melbourne best and fairest Todd Goldstein, and Steph Clarkson with you this morning. And a returning name, a very handy one for this Pies team. Geordie?
Yes, that's it, Joel. Will Hayes returns to the team after going out of the AFL side in round 11 with a shoulder injury. He had 6 games this year, 2 goals against Hawthorn in round 8. So a key player that we'll be looking for in the forward line today, no doubt, Joel. Second
game at VFL level for the West Australian this season. Another West Australian doing good things, Todd, is Cody Curtin for the Lions.
Yeah, the brother of Daniel Curtin from the Adelaide Crows. He's a good size at 200 centimetres, starting to really impose himself on games. He had 4 goals, 2 last week from 7 kicks, and just another one of those key position players that Brisbane have unearthed.
Yeah, a beautiful Melbourne morning. Let's check in with conditions and say a very good morning to Steph Clarkson.
Good morning, guys. I was a little bit nervous driving to the ground here this morning. There was a bit of cloud cover, but the sun has come out to shine in untypical Melbourne weather. It's sitting at around 10 degrees right now. Expect it to get up to 13 by halfway through the match. It is a little bit slippery underfoot given that Melbourne's had a lot of rain the last couple of days, so we'll see a lot of contest ball, hopefully not too much slippery ball. Someone that I'm excited to see today play is Mitch Pahadzki, playing his first game here at Coburg since being drafted in the mid-season draft by the Pies. With pick 19, he kicked 4 goals last weekend, so I'm very excited to see how many goals he'll bag today.
Yeah, thank you, Steph. He's the local specialist, of course, coming out of the Lions at the mid-season draft, impressed the Pies enough to earn his spot. He played 80 games with Coburg just about over the course of his VFL career before being picked up by Collingwood. So a lot to like about what he brings to the table today, coming off a big performance last week. There's big Harry Coe, who was taken out of Frankston at the mid-season draft as well. And Dan Annable back of screen, playing his first VFL game for the season for the Lions after shoulder surgery. We're underway at Coburg, and Lockie Sullivan gets us going immediately with the clearance, kicks to a pack inside forward 50. And the experienced head of Darragh Joyce is back there to repel for the Lions, sends it outside the defensive 50. Annable had a play at it. Sullivan knocked it away from him, so a bright start for the Magpie. Brown got caught by Marshall. And this is a young man out of contract at the end of the year. He's been finding AFL opportunities hard to come by. He's trying to press his case with some improved form. Great to see Dan Annable back there. Played the 1 game at AFL level against Sydney earlier in the season before busting his shoulder that needed surgery. He's got that right shoulder taped up as he returns today. Pies have built this up nicely. Now they'll get a good look inside the 50. And it's intercepted by Luke Lloyd. It's been an improved Brisbane team in recent weeks. That one ricochets off the boot of Kobe Evans. Big win over Tassie last week for the Lions, Geordie.
That's it. Big win for them after having wins hard to come by. A 61-point win over Tassie. So great win to get on the board coming into the game today.
Ryan kicks it to full forward. Drove there by Di Mattia, who was an AFL emergency last week. Just had the 5 touches at VFL level against Richmond. Out at Latrobe. What about the fly from Kitty Coleman coming in from stage left? Couldn't take it with him. But that is just a flash of that man's athleticism. Returning from a hamstring complaint and giving them a little bit of a test early, Goldie.
I think his hamstring is ready to go the way he attacked that contest, no doubt there.
Kick into the middle from Sullivan. Knocked down by Curtin to Bolfo. He's buffeted off the footy. Scooped up by Brady Gray. Ryan. And now they generate a little bit of run. The kick inside the 50s, not an overly convincing one. Scooped up by Phillips for the Pies. He just cedes a bit of territory to try and get a better entry. And Brisbane will bounce it back the other way. The South Australian here in Beacon paddles it to his own advantage. Slips through the tackle of Prindable. Annable. Flicked it on to Tilly. And now to Coleman, striding through the 50, eyeing the sticks. Welcome back, Kitty Coleman.
Just a super start there by Kitty Coleman. It's what Brisbane Lions supporters want to see from him. it just shows that little bit of class that probably the first couple of minutes of this game hasn't quite had, and Kitty Coleman doesn't disappoint.
Just the decisiveness to go for goal. He knew it was within range, didn't hesitate, saw an open goal square and just chipped it straight through.
Such a wretched run with injury over the last couple of seasons, of course, for Kitty Coleman. One game in their premiership campaign of 2024, only one in 2025 as well. 12 AFL games this season. Playing his first VFL game of the campaign on return from a hamstring injury. What a return he's made. The Lions take it forward once more. Torrent with the clearance. Off to Annabelle. Coleman stationed in that forward line. And big Noah Howes, who's on return for Collingwood in this morning's game, will float in. Pies 4-8 on the season. Winners last week over Richmond by 70 points out at Latrobe. And they had an absolute stack of goal kickers, as you'd expect. 37 scoring shots from 58 entries last week, Geordie. So highly efficient inside forward 50.
Highly efficient, and that's not what they're actually known for this year, scoring accuracy. They're actually sitting last in the competition, so it's good that they were able to hit the scoreboard. Hopefully they can carry that on into the back end of the season. Big
Henry Smith in ruck for the Lions, made his AFL debut against Collingwood at the MCG late last year, kicked 3 goals, all of them came in the second quarter. And there is Annabelle, the 6th pick at the draft last season. Big raps on what that young man can produce, and it is good to see him back out here. We'll get Todd Goldstein's thoughts on our ruck battle as we go throughout the morning. Big Harry Coe has been impressive in his short time at Collingwood. He got the clearance there, but it was sharked by the Lions. And then Tyne Prindable, who played 5 games for the Lions VFL team last year, being out of their academy, kicks it into the centre of the ground. Nick Thompson's there for the Pies, starts the surge forward once more. Sullivan measured the kick beautifully. Di Mattia gets onto his left shoe, sends it inside the 50. And the Big Rouge drifted down forward. And Illawarra Smith will have a crack from the pocket.
Lockie Sullivan's getting busy early. 5 disposals, 2 contested possessions. And he's been crucial in getting the ball forward for the Pies.
Ten goals on the season for Illawarra Smith. He's for the first for Collingwood. Looks pretty good. It's just drifted across the face and through for the first score of the morning for the Pies. He's a character, the Big Roo. Don't know how much traffic the website's doing these days. bigroo.au for any of those interested.
I think it's more the fact he has a website is the fascinating bit about that.
Yep, yeah. It is scarcely believable, to be honest. You didn't, when you were a Big Roo, you didn't ever consider.
No, well, I think the only time I did consider, I realised it was taken, so that sort of ruined that idea.
I reckon there's a few Todd Goldstein fan pages on Instagram now I've seen.
All started by my mum, so thanks, Mum.
Here's Oscar Forkhead, who former Gold Coast Academy graduate. It's an absolute sack off the boot, and he almost curled it home. You don't have to draw pictures. Lucky for Oscar, because it was an unconvincing ball flight. Almost got the job done. Shadow Brain to kickstart the Lions once more. There you see the territory dominance for the Pies in this opening term. And a hand to that for Ethan Duke on the wing on the outer side. Of course, Collingwood not able to play home games in their venue at the moment. A couple of Brains Trust looking on there. Stephen Silvani, not particularly interested in looking at our cameras. There he is, the St Kilda list boss, checking things out this morning here at VFL level. Also, under-18 championships doubleheader last night as well, so plenty for our scouts and list bosses to check out over the course of this weekend of footy. Coleman ran into trouble. He got caught by Will Parker. Chance in the forward pocket there for Curtis McCarthy, and he can't latch onto it. In front of the Brisbane little cheer squad in that forward pocket. Nice to see a few Lions flags fluttering in that forward pocket of the ground. You can see them there left of screen. A few of the diehards in. Of course, they played at AFL level on Thursday night against the Cats and got a very impressive victory, did the Lions. Brady Gray with a beautiful bit of roving. Punches it outside the defensive 50. He'll come back in, though. Taj Aberley to the pocket. McCarthy left it behind. Scooped up somehow by Howes. It was a legal disposal, according to the umpire, and Brown couldn't keep it alive. Noah Howes coming back from a shoulder complaint as well. Missed the last 4 games for Collingwood. So Lions with the early scoreboard damage here. Cohen Smith again. Jacob Ryan fights for it at ground level. Coleman emerges, throws it on his left, and he's got a couple in this opening term. Kitty Coleman is showing all his wares.
Clearly a valuable addition today, Kitty Coleman. Throughout this game, they've had 6 inside 50s. The Pies have to only Brizzy's 4. So they've been a lot more efficient going inside. And as we saw then, when it went in there, it stayed in there. Collingwood have been struggling on the rebound to maintain any territory. And this is what happens when you keep the ball in your forward 50. People like Kitty Coleman pop up and snap a goal.
And we've got a Brisbane side currently kicking at 47% kicking efficiency. Kitty Coleman's had 2 touches for 2 very nice goals, so that certainly helps the side. But it's not the start of the game struggling a little bit with their disposal efficiency.
That was a very impressive flag behind those goals as well. So what they lack in quantity of cheer squad, they're making up for in quality this morning. Josh Brown gets the Pies moving out of the stoppage. Di Mattia inside the 50, can't keep it alive. It's off hands. Luke Lloyd with a hand to it last. Charlie West has been in good goal-kicking form up front this year for Collingwood. 21 goals, 9 from his 9 outings. He's featured a bit at AFL level as well. Great to have you with us as part of Super Saturday here on Fox. Pies coming up on the Gold Coast a little bit later on. That was an awkward one for Cody Curtin, who tried to smash it out of defence and kicked an opposition player's leg. Pulls up a little bit sore with the shin issue. And Harry Coe, he's going to get an opportunity to roost one from outside 50. Pressed in the early part of the year at VFL level. The Pies liked what they saw and picked him up at the mid-season draft to bolster their stocks. Of course, Oscar Steen going down with a season-ending knee injury. Coe won't have the carry, and it should be an easy kill for Dara Joyce.
Looked like his teammates were backing him in to put that through. Might have dropped a bit shorter than they expected it to there. Well read by Joyce.
And here's what Dara Joyce brings to this team. His former Saints, the Irishman. Key interceptor for this Brisbane outfit. Marshall's had a couple of touches in the chain. McCarthy with an awkward kick to the edge of the 50. Josh Brown had 27 touches last week, a couple of behinds against the Tigers. Important member of this Collingwood VFL squad. They'll come all the way back here to big Bryn Teakle. Sends it wide, looking for Saxena, and it's punched decisively out of play by Hunter Moore. Bryn Teakle is an interesting watch. Todd, he's played forward, he's played ruck, and most recently playing down back.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I think he would have thought going to Collingwood, he might have been a look in that mid-season draft. I reckon that's why he chose there. But they went with picking up Harrison Coe, which was probably says a lot about Britton Teakle where he's at, and probably disappointing for him to deal with.
Could have become a 3-timer at the mid-season draft. The former Port Adelaide and North Melbourne pick up through that. Hannibal's made a good start to this game. 4 touches for the young Lion. Going head-to-head with Oscar Forkhead at this stoppage. Shoveled it out of there. Archie Watts gets boot to ball. Ryan controlled it down nicely to Howes. Stepping through the traffic, not being able to get rid of it, Taj Woden. And he got picked off by Archie Watts. Back into the team, Woden, one of 3 changes for Collingwood. There you see the pressure from Archie Watts. And a well-executed tackle. Ryan floats in at half-back, went with one hand, couldn't drag it in. Evans over the top of the pack. And it's going to be a free kick in Collingwood colours. Ben de Bolfo was the acting skipper last week. Up toward West. Now a chance for Saxena out the back. The handball found him. He just couldn't gather it cleanly. Battles it to his own advantage. Keeps it alive. Has another go. Henry Smith comes over the top. Collingwood thought he threw it. Spills to Forkhead. He screws it around the body and gets Collingwood's first of the game.
I'm sure Saxena would have liked to have gathered the ball, but it's not a bad play to just keep it alive, keep the ball going forward with a little bit of momentum. Well done by Forkhead. It looked like it was a cake of soap at some point there. No one could take it cleanly, but Forkhead was able to chuck it on the boot and put it through.
So a good finish there from Oscar Forkhead. His 8th goal of the season. Playing in game number 13. Played every game for the Pies so far this year. He gets their first of the game. We did see Cody Curtin come up a little bit sore from a contest on the outer side. Steph, have you got eyes on him?
I do, guys. He's just in the hands of the trainer now, pointing to that left ankle. Thinks he got it caught up in that tackle, so we'll keep you posted with updates from there.
Thanks, Steph. He really tried to kick the footy into next week when he went at that contest. You can see he's got the shin guard on there. He's one of about 5 Brisbane players who might go through the ruck at some stage. Zach Ostelski's been doing a bit of everything for them this season as well. There you see just getting that ankle worked on, so hopefully we see Cody Curtin back out there soon. He's made a bright start to his career at the top level. Coleman going off the ground now, so he's smashed one through from outside 50, one from the pocket, and he thought, I'll try and jag this one home soccer style. Floats out of bounds on the full. He might have been up early to watch the Socceroos this morning, maybe. I
think he's definitely channeling that view. Maybe more Argentina than the Socceroos, though.
Here's Hunter Moore. See Brisbane with the scoreboard advantage in the early part of this game. Great to have you with us on Fox Footy as part of Super Saturday. Hunter Moore's going to look like he was going to take it on. Sends it to the top of the square. They got plenty of tall timber down there. Teakle came across the pack. Desperate stuff in defence now for the Pies. Just surging it forward was Ben Murphy for the Lions. And that'll count for full points.
Just another great ground stoppage goal from the Brisbane Lions. They haven't really, no side has really been able to get any connection inside forward 50 just yet. But it's just finding a way to will themselves to the goal, and great forward craft.
So that's Cody Curtin. That's a big wind-up for not much result, Goldie.
Especially when you've given away the free kick just before that as well. It was probably unnecessary.
Yeah, injury to insult, quite literally. There's a couple of appeals that was touched off the boot of the Irishman, Ben Murphy. First season at Brisbane. 12 goals on the campaign as we get another look at Cody Curtin's right foot. 12 goals on the campaign now for Ben Murphy. 12 goals won. So when he gets his opportunities, he tends to take them. Lions on top by 10 points. Looking for back-to-back wins for the first time this season, as are Collingwood. Neither team has strung 2 together so far in the campaign, and both coming off wins last week. Pies have won 2 of their past 3. It was Brisbane's first win since their 3rd game of the campaign. Reece Torrent just ambles his way forward, jams it inside the 50, and the mark is taken by Dylan Smith. Had a couple of bites at it, dragged it into his chest, and he can have a shot for their 4th of this first quarter. Haven't been fast starters this year, the Pies. They've just won 2 of their 12 first quarters so far this season. Dylan Smith's played the 8 games on the campaign, kicked 4 goals, 2. Going to take a good kick from there, and he's delivered a good kick. They all did some work on the goal line. He snuck it through. And the Lions have really got up and running early here at Coburg.
You can see his face there, just made a face at one of his teammates as if to say, I don't know how that went through, but it did. 6 points nonetheless. It seems to be that the ball's dropping into little pockets for the Pies here defensively, just being able to work their players under the ball and force those really deep entries inside 30. Obviously, other than that goal from Coleman, it seems to be that the Pies are defending really deep inside their D50. So they'd be looking to tighten that up, I think.
Feels like this Brisbane Lions side just starting to settle into the game a little bit more now. Pies started well, but Brisbane are just starting to settle into it.
15 listed players out there for Brisbane this morning. Another opportunity here with a long shot at goal. And that'll miss off the boot of Ethan Duke. So they are peppering away at the moment, the Lions. Ryan brings it back in somewhat dangerously in the pool pocket here at Barry Plant Park. Forkhead puts on the afterburners. Handballs through the traffic. Saxena was a little bit cleaner on that occasion. Prindable, Smith, Forkhead, Saxena, path to goal. And he got it right to the behind line. Padaski's not been paid the mark, though. So no home cooking that time for Mitch. Saxena, a little bit of line breaking through the middle. Taken as a rookie last year by the Pies with Indian heritage, so great story. He's Jai Saxena. Lions back the other way. Annabelle, high footy inside the 50. Teakle lost it in flight. McCarthy kept it alive from the pocket. Bounces it, almost. Not quite. Got that transition game up and running. There's Brady Gray on the bench, Geordie. The Collingwood AFLW defensive coach, just getting a little bit of work on the hammy.
Yep. I'm keeping an eye on him today. I want him to practice as he preaches. So you'll do his review this week with him as opposed to the shoe being on the other foot? Yeah, something like that.
I think she plans on doing it live on TV right now.
Yes. Yeah, a little bit of feedback on the go for Brady potentially this afternoon.
Maybe an earpiece he's got in.
Get on the phone to him.
Yeah. I'll get Steph to give him some pointers.
Do it via proxy. Prindable laid a good tackle. It wasn't rewarded initially, and then the Pies will get a free kick here to big Harry Coe, who's got the big black career savers on as well, Goldie, so he's doing as a good ruck should.
Yeah, look, he's going the way of the old school ruckman these days. I think us new age guys don't usually go the black career savers, but they do feel like pillows on your feet.
Hayes got a hand in there. Brown, looping handball over the top. It was a good one from Nick Thompson. And it frees up Hayes, who drills his kick to the edge of the 50. Padaski nudged under it. Shadow Brain inside the defensive arc for the Lions. Torrent, and this is where this Brisbane team is so dangerous, when they can control the footy and launch the counter-attack. And a telling intervention there by Teakle. Good mark from Saxena. He's been impressive in the early going. Eleven of their 12 games so far this season for Jai Saxena. Kick to the edge of the 50, spills out the back. Coleman provides the defensive run for Brisbane. It's a nervous handball. It's a really nervous handball now. And Phillips wins the free.
Just snuck up on him there. That wobbly ball inside D50, it's a terrible feeling as a defender. You just want to be able to gather it cleanly and get it out there. Well done by Will Phillips to force the free.
Good to see Cody Curtin back out there for the Lions. Chance for Will Phillips in front of the sticks. Not a noted goal kicker. He does it up with that one. And the Pies keep it close in this opening term.
You mentioned Saxena up there on the wing. He's only got the 3 disposals. Obviously, those tap-ons in that territory that he created earlier on that that led to the Oscar Forkhead goal. That doesn't count as a disposal, but he's been crucial. He's been working up and down the ground. He was incredible in that link play that forced this Will Phillips, that's it, Will Phillips tackle. So he's been crucial in generating that territory for the Pies going forward.
Just those players that have that explosive pace that can really open up the game and cause havoc for the opposition.
See plenty of fans in this morning. Maybe just off the 19 tram out the back down Sydney Road. Here's Torrent, who emerges. Left foot kick inside the 50. It's easy pickings for Noah Howes. Another talented South Australian. Tries to link up with his Crow-Eater teammate Jacob Ryan. They had to go quickly into defensive mode. Ty Hayes, another of the ins for Brisbane. So 4 changes for Brisbane today. Coleman, Annable, Hayes and Watts all came into this team. 3 for Collingwood, Hayes, Howes and Woden with the ins, with Liam Puncher making his AFL debut this afternoon against the Suns, and Angus Anderson also getting the promotion. There's one back here by Hunter Moore. Sends it inside the 50. Almost got past Ryan. Handball made difficult for Di Mattia, who's just shoved off it. Torrent squaring, dangerous kick, top of the goal square. McFadgen had the opportunity but couldn't grasp it. And now the Pies can go into counter-attack. Dashing through the middle was Sullivan. He got caught. Terrific chase from Brain. And now Coleman on the edge of the 50. We've seen him go long once already. Lays that one off. And big Henry Smith will have the shot. Lockie Sullivan just did not hear the footsteps.
He made up a lot of ground there, so it was an incredible chase.
His rapid shadow brain provides them with plenty of run, the Lions. Couple of AFL games this season for him. Now big Henry Smith out of the Blackwood Footy Club in the Adelaide Hills. Just the 1 game so far this season. 1 goal, 1 after coming into the team last week. And he'll miss on that occasion and make it a 2-kick game. They do have so many tall options when you look across this list, Goldie, with Henry Smith, Zach Ostelski. There's a heap of them. And here's another one, Cody Curtin, who's marked the kick in.
And when they brought in Sam Draper in the off-season as well, they've got an enormous amount of talls and probably only fighting for 2 or 3 spots, because I reckon Sam Draper's got his spot. Certain a few of their forwards have got their spots guaranteed, so someone like a Henry Smith is looking for maybe Darcy Fort if he drops off a little bit to try and replace him.
So Cody Curtin had the right ankle worked on earlier in the game. What's he got here? He'll bring that back nicely. And the Lions with 5 in the opening term. And Cody Curtin showing no ill effects of the knock earlier in the piece.
Kicking a goal generally fixes. It's the best medicine you can ask for, I found.
He was awake to the play with the intercept. Jacob Ryan, you didn't need to be a lip reader to understand the frustration he was feeling in that moment.
Yeah, it's not a good feeling. It's one that you just got to let go. It happens. You're trying to hit that inside kick and be bold, and your coach is always encouraging you to look for those options. And sometimes the forwards are just a little bit more awake to it than you'd like to think they are. But it happens. Put it behind you. Move on. It
wouldn't happen for the number 6, for the Collingwood AFLW team.
Oh, it certainly would. And it has. I've had nightmares about it.
Sullivan with another clearance. He's been powerful in the middle of the ground. And he sets up Charlie West, who slides in at the top of the arc. There's a lot to like about what this man brings to the table. And lots about what Lockie Sullivan's doing in the opening term as well. 7 disposals, a couple of clearances. He said that West's been in good goal-kicking form, only goalless once this season at VFL level. 21 on the campaign. He gives that a thump. Certainly had the carry, not the accuracy.
Wasn't short for distance, was he? Cleared the fence at the back of it.
Especially when a few players have already dropped short, kicking to this end.
Harry Joyce obviously didn't like what he saw with the footy that he was handed. He wanted the kids to fling the ball in use back to him. Lions with 5 in this opening term. They've kicked away from the Pies a couple of times. Collingwood have been able to peg it back on a few occasions after Brisbane got it out to an 18-point lead in the term. Now they come through the middle. Kobe Evans, young West Australian. Looks up inside the 50. Tries to find the target. Working hard there, Murphy. Got boot to ball, surged it forward. Pies defence resolute, at least for now. It's picked up, a beautiful little step by McCarthy. Worked himself onto his right boot and finished with class.
Brazier starting to kick away here. It seems every single time the Pies get it forward to centre, it comes back with interest, back into the Lions forward half, and they just go inside, able to keep the ball alive. Well done there, not to let the ball go into a stoppage. It's you want to keep the ball alive inside your forward 50 because something will happen, and we've seen a lot of goals generated just from that spill ball into a snap. So well done there by Brizzy.
The Pies have looked quite comfortable every time they've been able to set their defence, but as soon as Brisbane able to get some speed on the ball, get some movement, get some chaos, that's when they look very shaky. So they'll need to tighten up their transition defence, the Pies.
So far in this opening term, Brisbane's kicked 2 goals, then Collingwood have got the next. Brisbane's kicked 2 goals, Collingwood have got the next. Brisbane's kicked the last 2 goals. Collingwood going inside forward 50. West just slips through his grasp, and he lays a really solid tackle on Hunter Moore. It was a little bit overzealous in the end. He's had that secondary motion to it. Make you a little bit nervous anytime players get involved in that kind of thing. So 6 in the opening term for the Lions. Coming off a big score last week and a 61-point win against Tassie. They've made a bright start to this game. Di Mattia pumps the Pies back inside the 50. A massive rise over the top there from Nick Thompson, who can take a hanger. He took an absolute beauty playing for Eagle Hawk in the Bendigo League earlier in the season over a teammate's head as well, if you don't mind, but that was a little bit keen from the Two Blues product. Darragh Joyce can settle things down inside the defensive 50 for the Lions. And they get to quarter time after a burst to start this term. Kitty Coleman returned to the fold with a couple of goals. The Lions pile on 6 in that opening term. They are in familiar territory as far as Lions are concerned here at Coburg. 23-point lead to Brisbane at quarter time. Super Saturday here on Fox Footy. Lightning start for the Lions in that opening term. And pressure was solid. For both teams it was. A couple of mistakes for Collingwood, proving costly as well. And Brisbane with a 6-goal opening term. That from Curtis McCarthy, one of the best that they put together. And the Lions at Coburg up by 23 points at quarter time. Joel Peterson alongside Collingwood AFLW Vice-Captain Geordie Allen. All-Australian Todd Goldstein and Steph Clarkson with you this morning. The Lions have dominated possession so far, Geordie and Todd. 2 goals from stoppage in that opening term as well. How are you seeing it play out?
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing, is that early on Collingwood seemed to dominate the clearances, but weren't able to. They only scored the 2 points from stoppage, whereas Brisbane have now started to get on control of the footy. Their defence, they've been able to move the Collingwood defence around and destabilise them and score goals and score heavily.
We were always going to have a bit of an eye to Kitty Coleman and what he was going to produce, Geordie, and a couple of special goals in that opening term.
He certainly did. He lit the fire for Brizzy. It was a bit of an arm wrestle to start off the game, but as soon as he laced this one out off his left boot, it seemed to be the start of a pretty good run for Brizzy in that first quarter. He's got the 7 disposals, 2 goals to his name, a couple of inside 50s, 4-score involvement. So great start. I'm sure they're stoked to have him back.
Absolutely. First VFL game for the season, 12 at AFL level. As we said during the call, just has not been able to string together any continuity in his game in recent times. So hopefully he can get a prolonged run at it coming off the back of a hamstring injury. 7 disposals and 2 goals in that opening term. Sam Marshall's had it the most of any Lion on the ground with 9 touches in that opening term. And for Collingwood, the 6 scoring shots from their entries, so they haven't been out without some opportunities. Let's get their side of things. Their coach, Matt Logan, is with Steph.
Sure, I'm joined here by Matty Logan. Matty, what was the message at quarter time?
Yeah, look, Brisbane just went inside forward 50 and capitalised. I think all the stats were really even. We probably just wasted our opportunities going inside our forward 50. So, you know, it's an early start today, so I thought the boys lacked a little bit of intensity. So we're ready to go for the second half, and we know if we can just capitalise on our forward 50 entries, we're right back in the game.
A couple of boys maybe watching the Socceroos early this morning. Lockie Sullivan was amazing in the middle in that first quarter, 7 disposals and a couple of clearances. How good do you see him playing?
Yeah, look, that's what Sul does. He's ultra competitive around the ball and a really important leader in our group. So, yeah, looking forward to the last 3 quarters, and we'll get back into the game.
Thanks so much for joining us. Good luck for the second quarter.
Thank you.
Thanks, Steph, and thanks to Matt. Quarter time, his Pies have got a little bit of work to do. 23 points down. Playing a home game here at Coburg. The Lions not here this week. They're up on the up in Western Sydney facing the Giants, as in Coburg. So they're ground vacant. The Pies taking advantage to host Brisbane here this morning. House with the intercept to start the second term. After Brisbane surged it inside the forward 50. Big collision on the wing. Couple of sore bodies after that one. Bounces off the chest there of Lloyd. Can't drag it in, and Phillips steps it across. It'll be tossed back in. Sunshine out on the eastern side of the ground. Will Phillips, the former Kangaroo, playing his trade for Collingwood this VFL season. 9th game of the campaign for him. Number 3 overall pick. Cohen Smith. This time it's Sullivan who gets the clearance moving inside the forward 50. Chance out the back for a Smith, who runs in, puts it on the left boot, and gets the first of this second term. They're going to have a conference about it. Did he maybe hit the post on the way through?
He didn't look confident.
Yeah, he didn't look confident. Goal umpire didn't look confident, and looks even less confident now.
He's a bit of a nonchalant sort of guy, so wouldn't be surprised. I think he'd be pretty level whether he kicked one or if it did skim the post. Hard to tell.
Might not make the highlights reel at bigroo.au. I don't think that particular scoring play.
You're saying someone that has their own website wasn't going to get over-celebrate. I find that hard to believe.
Maybe he knew more than we and the goal umpire did, potentially. Pies win it back off the kick in. Look at Coleman just bust his way through that pack. Playing with some real explosiveness this morning, which is terrific to see. Hands and knees stuff there for Dylan Smith. Tried to farm it up to Annabelle. Teagle got caught, didn't get the handball away. Should have been a free. Lions have got really good representation around the footy. And Ryan drags it back to a neutral.
feel like those that are at Coburg City Oval today should enjoy seeing Kitty Coleman play in the VFL because he's not going to last down there very long.
Yes. Yep, feels like a rare treat. Hasn't played too many across the journey at this level, aside from injury. Awkward little one there as Josh Brown slipped in at the feet of Tyne Printable. Printable comes away with it. Off to Sullivan, who's been important for the Pies. This a better piece of play. Pajaski rolls around on his right boot, sends it to the square. Schmidt flying in Di Mattia, and he couldn't grasp it as it spills out of play.
This is where Matty Loken would want the boys to convert here. We heard from him at quarter time saying that he was pretty happy with the stats. They were evened up, but it was going inside 50 that the Pies were unable to capitalise on some of their opportunities, and I'm sure that first narrow miss from Smith would fall under that category. So let's see what they can do here.
Smith will do the ruck work against Smith. He was short of an H, but not a hit out. Kick around the body from Brown. Bounces its way to the goal line. And the Lions can send it back the other way. Joyce. There's Coleman. Trying to apply some pressure and force it out toward the boundary line. It didn't spill over, so the Pies keep it alive. Gray's hand pass. Finds a target on the end of it. Harry Kennedy. Whacks a high footy to the top of the square. Does he have the representation at ground level? Di Mattia to Phillips. And now a chance on the right boot for Woden. He didn't have the purchase on the kick. Lloyd can intercept for Brisbane. Can bounce the Lions back the other way. There's big Ty Evans. Kicks to the wing, and Cody Curtin, who had that injury concern in the opening term. Infield he comes to Annabelle. Great start for him in his first VFL game of the season. The 9 disposals thus far for Dan Annabelle. Smith, Brain, got stopped at half forward and then bit the kick off beautifully inside the arc. And Dylan Smith's got to look at another goal here.
That'll be frustrating for the Collingwood coaching staff. Both these quarters now, they've started really well. It's just that last kick inside 50 they haven't been able to connect on, and Brisbane finally go forward, and first one is a mark inside 50.
Dylan Smith with a goal already in the game. See if he can convert to get them going to start this second term. It's not a pretty looking kick, and it is away to the right. So a 23-point gap in the game. Jacob Ryan's going to get another opportunity to bring the ball back into play, maybe with a little bit more purpose than that turnover in the first term. He takes the safe option here, so he wasn't accepting the risk on that occasion. Taking off the pack was Archie Watts. He was tackled immediately. And Teakle applying some good pressure for the Pies. See, directs traffic off the instep down the wing. It's not his best. Straight to Aberley. Now Lloyd. Feigned to go outside, came back inside, got to Evans, on the run, sizes it up, almost across the face. It bounces off the head of Coleman. He tried to win it back, and it is through for a minor score. There's Illaroo Smith coming off the ground with a little bit of an injury concern as well. We'll get down to Steph in a moment for a little bit more on that and some of the other happenings around the place at quarter time. Great to have you with us. Super Saturday on Fox, VFL Footy. The Pies coming up a little bit later this afternoon. Hawthorn and Melbourne into Gold Coast, Collingwood, and of course GWS and Freo. Part of the offering here on Fox this afternoon.
It's the sticky mitts of Harry Coe on display there, number 2 for contested marks. Absolutely stole that out of the air there. Had no right in taking that one.
Now a chance for West. Evans did well. Punched Di Mattia under the footy. Here's Coleman. Takes the mark just behind halfway. In fact, gave away the free kick. So Will Parker sets an attack up for the Pies. In from the back was West. He had support there in front in the form of Zach McCarthy. And Joyce, well, he had the boundary umpire, the behind post and the ball to contend with there. Quite sure what the result of it all was. There's Chris Fagan watching on the Brisbane bench. So he spent a couple of extra days in Melbourne after they played at Geelong on Thursday night. Beautiful kick off halfback from Brisbane. Brain found Aberley with an absolute dart. Duke. Now Marshall. It's around onto his right boot. Torrent to the top of the 50. Finds Smith in space. Henry Smith's got the leg. Does he have the appetite to take it on? Henry had a shot in that opening term and missed. A couple of behinds to start this second quarter for Brisbane. Not the prettiest thing off the boot. It almost wobbled its way there. And it's marked on the last line by Ben de Bolfo for the Pies.
Maybe Darragh Joyce was onto something when he wanted to sub out one of the other footies. This thing just has not been spinning well on the last two shots at goal that Brisbane have had. Spinning east-west instead of north-south.
Not what you want. Coe's kick inside the defensive 50. Dangerous, Geordie. Leaving it behind there was Cochrane. Slapped on cleverly by Coleman. McCarthy. Numbers everywhere for Brisbane. Coleman was a little bit solid with the tackle there on Will Hayes, who'll pick himself up off the turf. Let's go down to Steph. Steph, Kadeen Coleman received a little bit of instruction from Chris Fagan at quarter time.
He sure did. Fakes is a man of few words, but came up to Kitty Coleman in the huddle and was giving him some advice about body positioning and where he could get ahead of the ball while he's up forward. Obviously kicked those 2 goals early, but wants him to do a little bit more damage.
Thanks, Steph. Eagle eyes from Steph at the quarter time huddle. Here is Coleman again, who's in the frame. The bloke over the fence thought he might have been a chance of taking a catch down low there. Nice little bit of foot movement to get across to the ball and the slips.
He was alert to it.
Yeah, absolutely he was. Good to see. Nice morning for footy here at Coburg. Melbourne's in a north. Sun shining. It's been shining for the Lions so far. They lead by 4 straight kicks. Henry Smith with a little bit of roving. Places the kick to the top of the goal square, and Cody Curtin swallows that up.
And that right there is the difference in the game so far. Just the composure that Brisbane have been able to go forward with. They're plus 21 in marks for the game, but they've just had a lot more composure with the footy, found the right option and hit their leading targets, where Collingwood, on the other hand, have just been blazing away inside 450 and haven't been able to hit a target.
Getting a little bit of advice from the locals. Cody Curtin. Kick one in the opening term. Had a little bit of an injury concern as well. Goes back here and nails that one. And the Lions do get the first of the second quarter.
Puts it through with authority, he does. Yeah, it's interesting. The inside 50 count, Collingwood 5, Brisbane 6. And Brisbane have had 3 scoring shots from those, whereas Collingwood have only had 1. So that, as you said, Todd, that's the difference. Collingwood just haven't been able to get it anywhere near the goal face. Very well set up defensively. Brisbane are in their back line, but it just seems to be every single time they go forward, they have an opportunity to score.
That's what Matty Loken was talking about at quarter time as well. So that efficiency inside forward 50, a real strength for Brisbane. At the start of this game, Curtin thrown into the ruck now. So as we said, they've got a lot of options they can put through that part of the ground. Versatility of this Brisbane team, something to behold. Annabelle and Marshall combine. Impressive interception from Ben de Volfo, who is just an absolute rock down back for the Pies. Such a reliable defender. Kick smothered. Ricochets around off the mark. The Lions will get another look at this. Smith to Annabelle. Hooks it to the top of the goal square. Evans might have got a shove on the way through there. And it looks like Kobe Evans is going to go and collect the Sharon. Get another look at him coming in from left of screen.
Quite a little bit fortuitous there, I think. It looked like the shove was in the side. It was actually quite good body work by his opponent. So,
and he was already on the way down.
Yeah, I think that will go down as a little bit lucky.
Just had the velocity added to with a little bit of a push. Here's Kobe Evans, first-year player out of WA. Sizes them up and swings that one through. Back-to-back goals again for the Lions to start his second term. They've got the last 4 of the game, and even the youngest of Lions fans are loving it.
Yeah, that one hurts. That one hurts. As we discussed, probably in the side here from Parker, just trying to do the right thing, keep his player out of the drop zone, out of that spill ball contest, but was paid a free kick against and put Kobe Evans in front for goal.
You'd like the umpire to reward the player that keeps his feet and tries to win the footy, I think.
4th goal of the season for Evans. Free kick in the middle is going the way of Collingwood. Brintikel's been thrown in there now, so showing they've got a bit of versatility in that part of the ground as well, the Pies. Teakle high inside the forward 50. Zach Stelzy was back there, got a hand to it, slipped through the pack. Phillips on the up, Saxena. He's done a lot of work, hasn't been rewarded with the goal yet. That one was touched on the way through. I don't know how to describe that outfit, quite frankly. I mean, it's sort of colourful in a way, but it's not.
I was going to leave that one for Geordie, to be honest, give the special comments on.
Thought it was a statue.
Yeah, it had a bit of that vibe about it. I like the hat. The hat was very solid. Luke Lloyd at half-back for the Lions. 3rd year on the Brisbane list. 10 intercepts last week. And this man has been important in this part of the ground as well, Bryn Teakle. Plying his trade in the defensive half, majority of his time today. Parker, usually a good user of it. Joyce has been very hard to pass down there. And now the counter-attack begins for Brisbane. Tilly with the sweeping handball out wide to Beacon, who bounces a couple of times with some real intent and then measures the pass beautifully. He had options everywhere inside the forward 50. And the mark's taken by McCarthy. And Dylan Smith was a bit flat, but he wasn't the one on the end of it.
Just a bit flat.
Watch them come together here off the kick inside the forward 50. And Smith throws the head back. McCarthy kicked 5 last week, 1 already in the game. Here's a look at the assignment. He's dragged it all the way across the face. It'll stay alive. Ryan goes without it, and it'll slide out of play. .16 on the season for Curtis McCarthy. You see the leading ball winners on the ground and 2 of the young guns for the Lions, Marshall and Annabelle, paving the path. The 237s, McCarthy and Curtin. Bounce out towards Saxena and spill out of play for another stoppage. Been tricky to assess the ruck battle so far, Goldie. There's been about 8 players go through there.
Yes, but I think Harrison Coe is probably the one that has really stood out. He's 11 hit outs, 6 of them to advantage, taking a couple of big contested marks, so he's probably the one that stood out of the vast amount of players that have gone through there. 2
youngsters again, the first-year players, McCarthy and Curtin, doing the honours this time. Parker to Ryan, curls the kick outside the defensive 50. West left it for Padaski. And now they chain it off half-back, the Pies. Brown A surging run through the middle of the ground from Woden. Kicks inside the forward 50. Thompson came up at the footy. Hit up really hard. Handball to Saxena. Back to Nick Thompson. Off a step, around the body. Launches it to the behind line. And it's fisted through by Brain.
That would have been typical of this Collingwood team today. I think they've had some easy opportunities that haven't necessarily converted, but it would have taken an almighty kick from 45, a snap on the angle for it to go through to light the flame for this Pies team, I think.
Thompson playing just his third VFL game, the 19-year-old. Premiership player with Eagle Hawk last year. Country footy. Lloyd to Torrent. Torrent's long ball inside the arc is read beautifully by Murphy. He had a beat on this the whole way, Goldie. And just read it better in flight than Teakle.
And that's all it takes. And Matty Loken said that he hopes in the second half they pick up the game. I think maybe the last 10 minutes of this quarter, they probably need to get that started. I can't wait till half-time now to start getting back into this Collingwood because they're being thoroughly beaten. 12
goals won this season. Here's a test for Ben Murphy. It starts right. It'll come back. It can't miss. Murphy's got a pair. And the Lions get out to a 40-point break.
You can see the difference in the way Brizzy want to move the ball. They transitioned it so smoothly outside of their defensive half here. 2 kicks and they were inside 50. And I guess that's the trade-off. Some teams want to have a handball brand, other teams want to have a kicking brand. Brizzy are really heavy on the kicking brand, and clearly it's working for them today. They're able to win it in the air. That you gain a lot more territory from using the ball by foot, and it's just putting this vulnerable Collingwood defence under a lot of pressure.
Just like at AFL level, 90, so they're plus 27 in terms of those kicks, Geordie, and plus 28 for marks. Coming off 121 marks last week in the win over Tassie. As we see so often, the VFL teams play in the same mould that their AFL sides do, and Brisbane doing exactly that. Powerful out of stoppage as well. Annabelle almost won the footy back there after sending it forward for Brisbane. Ryan runs it forward. Phillips got caught, slipped the handball out. Clever work in mid-air from Prindable, back to Ryan. Now from Hayes into the pockets. And West was out of play when he dragged that one in. Zane Zakostelski brings it back into play. Playing everywhere in recent weeks. Ruck, forward, defence. And a couple of chances at AFL level earlier in the season. Coleman up at half-back. 9th disposal coming up for Coleman. 2 goals in that opening term. First 2 in the game for the Lions within 8 minutes. Powerful mark from Smith. He sees something that he likes at half-forward. Ryan went with the fist as opposed to taking the mark. So all Brisbane in this second term, 3 goals to 3 behinds of Collingwood. Great to have you with us. VFL as part of your Super Saturday on Fox. Pies playing the Suns a little bit later today, which will be a pseudo Collingwood home game up on the Gold Coast in the middle of school holidays. The Gold Coast Marathon on this weekend as well. So I know there's a few interested onlookers from that perspective up on the Glitter Strip today. A little bit of a surging run here out of the middle from the Pies. Beacon, who's been creative. Deep entry. Clearing fist from Teakle. Will it fall into friendly hands? Kennedy combines with Phillips. They can't keep it in. It's going to be a throw-in, not a last touch free kick. Bounced off the knee there of Phillips, and he might have got a hand to it on the way out. It's a beautiful look at the scene here at Coburg City Oval, Barry Plant Park. Kennedy spins his way through. Out to Ryan. Nice pick up on the move from Evans. Rain laterally to Aberley. Slipped over as he kicked, didn't affect the result. That's not a bad one for when you end up on your backside. Poked inside the 50 by Greenaway. Powerful move there from Ethan Duke. He got the Dukes out for the big fend-off. And now stepping through. That is really good stuff again from Luke Beacon, whose dash and dares rewarded with a goal.
A few Collingwood defenders just overcommitted. You can't fault their endeavour to try and wrap Beacon up here, but he just stepped 1, 2, and was able to drive through for a goal. Again, that's just Brisbane's ability to hit the scoreboard when they go forward. It's been a bit of an arm wrestle, but very clearly Brisbane are on top here in this half of footy.
I think it also just shows what Matt Logan spoke about at quarter time. Just Collingwood players just a little bit off. There's probably 3 or 4 missed tackles that led to that goal then, and it's just not quite coming together for them at the moment.
Just the 2 wins for Brisbane on this season so far. They don't exactly have a murderer's row toward the back end of the year, so who knows what could be possible with the reinforcements coming back off the injury list. Of course, Sorko, McCluggage, Duday and Will McLaughlin could all play next week at some level for the Lions. Big rise from Brain. 14 or 15 listed players in this game, and they're getting more reinforcements back. Hunter Moore's wrapped up. Pies inside the forward 50. Haven't kicked a goal in this second term. Collingwood 3 behinds. Brisbane have banged on 4 goals 2. Bounce favourably for Coleman. He goes the fend off onto Bolfo as well. Trying to create something down the line. Curtin gets down below his knees. The big fella at 200 centimetres. McCarthy tumbles it inside the arc. Leaving it behind there was Annabelle. Stationed up front. A little bit of a rest from his on-ball duties. Big Harry Coase shanked that one out wide just as he drew it up out to Phillips.
Like any good ruckman, he'll claim it.
Phillips inboard. Finds Josh Brown. Can he create coming back through the middle of the ground? It's an audacious kick. Printables there. Now it does spill favourably for the Pies. Padaski the target. Zakostelski rushes it through for a minor score. Create another opportunity off the kick in here, Collingwood. Straight into safe hands again for Brisbane. Torrent had a hand in getting it out of there, and immediately they go end to end. Curtin not quite with the mark. Teakle played tunnel ball with it. It bounces around between the 2 big men. And it's socket over the boundary line, and then Teakle throws Cody Curtin quite literally into the gutter.
And he's lucky that ball wasn't 2 metres closer to the commentary box. It would have been a lasso free kick. We've seen some big goals. I dare say that Curtin would have had a crack from the junction of the 50.
Cody Curtin learns you don't want to tussle with Teakle. Got dragged across the boundary line. Coe reaches over the top of Smith decisively, again showing that dominance you mentioned. In the aerial situations, Goldie, as DiMattia finds Thompson. Sends it wide. It's a good kick. Sullivan with 13 disposals he's coming up for. Had a really busy start to the game. He's burst onto the scene a couple of years ago as a mature age recruit for the Pies. That's not his best up toward half forward. Zakostelski intercepts easily. Oh, that's an awful kick toward full back. And you don't need to give Mitch Padaski a gift like that.
And a gift it is, Joel. That's one back from Jacob Ryan's blunder in the first quarter. hopefully this ignites something in the Collingwood team, but it's one of those ones that doesn't feel like you've necessarily earned it. It's just one that's popped into your lap here after just an error there by Zach Kostelski, but Pajaski not going to miss one of those.
It's a nice gift, though, when you haven't really got near it so far. It's just when you want to get a couple of goals back into the Frosty Miller medal, that doesn't hurt.
He's the only player in contention with the two logos there as well, Mitch Pajaski. A half and half jumper for him at the presentation night at the end of the season. Plenty of them here at Barry Plant Park for the Lions before earning his opportunity with the Pies. Coming off a big game last week, he's on the board. And it's timely for Collingwood to get one before half-time. Their first goal of that second term comes right at the death through a former Coburg Lion in Mitch Pajaski. There's Big Illaru Smith, who's done for the afternoon. So that's not going to help their cause. We'll get an update from Steph here at half-time as well. It is a 39-point lead to the Brisbane Lions at half-time. 10-5-65 to 3-8-26. 4 goals to 1 in that second term. They've been ruthlessly efficient ahead of the footy in this second quarter, the Brisbane Lions, and putting it on the board to good effect, Goldie.
Yeah, absolutely. They've really just made the most of their opportunities, whereas the Pies just haven't been able to get their game going. So I think they're going to have to reset, relook at what they're doing at Collingwood and just come back with a bit more attitude, a bit more intensity to the way they're going about their footy.
Great to see Dan Annable back there. 17 disposals in this first half for him on return from injury. He's alongside Steph Clarkson.
Sure is good to see him back on the ground. 17 touches in that first half. How are you feeling?
Yeah, great, boys. I'm playing well, playing some good footy. Yeah, it's good to show on the scoreboard as well, so yeah.
How's your shoulder feeling?
Yeah, good. It's ready to go. It's been ready for a couple of weeks now. Just had to get some contact hours in, but it's good to be back out here. Very, very grateful, and yeah, it's been fun.
39-point lead at the break. Collingwood have a really fast play. They use a lot of handballs. You guys have been able to outmark them by 30.
Yeah.
How good is that going into the second half?
Yeah, it's great. It's one of our focuses. We know if we can control the ball against it, especially against a side like Collingwood who get numbers to the contest, it's really important to make them defend, and yeah, we can punish them from there.
Dan, thanks so much for joining us. Good luck for the
Thank
second
you.
half.
Appreciate it. Have a good one.
Thanks to Dan Annable, thanks to Steph Clarkson. The shoulder might be going okay. The lungs have just got a little bit of catching up to do for Dan Annable in his first game back from injury. Chris Fagan's watching on, the head honcho of things for the Brisbane Lions. He'd be pretty pleased with what his side has delivered in this first half. Coming off a big win at AFL level on Thursday night footy, the Lions lead here by 39 points. We'll get Geordie and Goldie's thoughts on the other side of this. half-time at Coburg. We've seen some colourful spectators and some very impressive footy in this first half. The Lions doing most of the goal kicking. Couple to Ben Murphy, including a goal from that set shot. Luke Beacon with one of the highlights of the first half with his darting run and finishing as well. It's Brisbane by 39 points at half-time. 10-5 plays 3-8. Joel Peterson, Todd Goldstein, Geordie Allen and Steph Clarkson with you as part of your Super Saturday here on Fox. And we've spoken about it throughout the call so far. The efficiency forward of centre for the Brisbane Lions, Geordie, has been one of the big differences in the game, and it's going to be a real theme of our first half highlights.
Absolutely. If you look at the inside 50 differential, they're only up by 2 inside 50s, but there is a huge differential on the scoreboard, almost up by 40 points, 39 points the difference. They've just been so efficient going inside 50, or rather Collingwood haven't been on the counter-attack.
Yeah, they haven't been able to make the most of their opportunities, as you mentioned, at the other end of the ground from a Collingwood perspective. And most of the stats, Collingwood ahead in terms of clearance so far in the game as well, Goldie. So they're not out of it in the way that this game is being played.
No, and you look at the clearance numbers, you know, it's +4 to Collingwood, but they've scored 5 points from their clearances to Brisbane's 25 points, 4 goals, 1. So that's been a real difference, as Geordie said. It's just taking opportunities. They're getting the chances. Now they just got to take them.
Yeah, a big part of what Brisbane have done forward of centre has been Reece Torrent in this first half. So plenty of the footy, 5 inside forward 50s as well. So he's been impressive with the run that he's been able to generate out of the middle for the Lions.
Yeah, he's been crucial. He's been that link player between the arcs. He's made great decisions with ball in hand. He had 3 scoring involvements himself in that first quarter. A couple of 7 contested possessions, more than a couple. So he's definitely done his work in between the arcs and has really ignited that kicking style game going inside 50 that the Lions want to use.
They've been able to make the most of the opportunities that they're getting off the back of his work as well at half-time. A little bit of instruction from the Lions. We've seen Chris Fagan here as well, casting his eye over proceedings too for Brisbane in this first half and providing a bit of instruction to Kadeen Coleman. So a lot to like about the way the Lions are going about it at half-time. They lead by 39 points. We'll take a look at what's to come on Fox Footy for the rest of the day on the other side of this. Stick around. Eye-catching moment from that first half is Shadow Brain with a big run-down tackle in the middle of the ground to win possession back. Lockie Sullivan just did not hear him or see him coming. And that was a fantastic effort from the young Lion to create a little bit of havoc and win the footy back for his team in that first half. Emblematic of what they did. There's the main man, front and centre, Chris Fagan in the rooms at half-time. The Lions by 39 points in this first half. One player who we've been keeping a close eye on for the Pies, though, Goldie, is Big Harry Coe in the ruck, the mid-season draftee. What have you made of his performance so far?
He's been really impressive so far. He's got the 15 hit-outs, 8 of them are to advantage, so he's giving those Collingwood mids really good use, and he's also taken 3 really big contested marks. So for a side that are looking to possibly get a replacement for Oscar Stein, who's out for the season, he's put his name up in lights, and wouldn't be surprised he's head towards debut at some point.
Yeah, couldn't be doing a lot more with the opportunity that he's been given so far in this season. Big day of footy here on Fox as well as part of Super Saturday. So the Hawks and the D's is going to be a belter. That's where we send you next, down at UTAS Stadium with Kelly Underwood and the team down there. GWS and Fremantle on 5:03 from the nation's capital. Gold Coast Collingwood from People First Stadium. Richmond Carlton at the G tonight completes our Super Saturday. Tomorrow we're back with VFL action to kick off as well between Essendon and St Kilda before their AFL teams do battle as part of your Sunday ticket. Port and North close out the round before all the fun of bounce. And the boys get into the analysis on first crack. So a loaded weekend of footy here on Fox. You do not need to adjust your set throughout the course of the weekend. If you're a Brisbane fan, it's already been a pretty good weekend of footy, and it is continuing. The Fitzroy Scarves are out here in Melbourne's inner north. The Collingwood Cowboy is on deck as well at half-time. He needs his team to do a little bit of work. The Lions by 39 as we get set for the second half. Halftime at Barry Plant Park in Coburg, and it is the Lions. The Lions are usually the home team here, but it's the Brisbane Lions today who lead by 39 points at halftime. Joel Peterson alongside Collingwood AFLW Vice-Captain Geordie Allen, North Melbourne Best and Fairest winner Todd Goldstein. As part of our coverage here, your Super Saturday on Fox Footy round 15 in the VFL. We did see Illaru Smith go off for Collingwood with an injury in that first half. He won't be returning to the field in the second half. For more on that, let's check in with Steph Clarkson. Steph.
Yeah, so no good news for Collingwood there. Schmidt obviously out. He had a concussion, got a knock off the ball, so he won't take part in the second half of this game. We went down to the Lions rooms at halftime, and their message was very clear. Let's get back to playing our brand of footy. They said that they're over handballing too much. We know the Lions are a really big kick and mark side, so their emphasis for this quarter will be getting back to that and increasing that mark count a lot more than what they had in that first half, guys.
Beautiful, Steph. Thank you. 60 marks in that first half for the Lions, so increasing it is going to be through the roof. They're going to be on world record pace here in this second half. Darragh Joyce has had plenty of them, Geordie, and as a defender by trade, his first half must be something you quite enjoyed watching.
Yeah, he just makes it look so easy. There's a few times when he knows that he's that intercept player, that spare player down back, and he impacts every single time in the air, wins the ball, and is able to kickstart Brisbane's offense. 8 marks he had, 3 mark intercepts, so no doubt he'll be on track for big numbers today if it continues to go that way.
7 intercept possessions. They're just able to free him up. You can see there he's standing alongside Brent Teakle. Zane Zakostelski's got the job on Mitch Padaski, so good luck going through that matchup 5 times quickly. As they get set for the second half, Mitch Padaski kicking the last goal of the first half. Harry Di Mattia gets us going in the second half, bangs it inside the forward 50. And this time it's Luke Lloyd. If it hasn't been Joyce, it's been Lloyd back there for the Lions so far in this game. That's not going to help the mark count. Kick overcooked there by Greenaway. And then a free kick, a little cheap one given away by Murphy. So the Pies can generate some run this second half. A little bit wasteful in front of the sticks with 3 goals 8 in the opening half of footy. Thrown over the boundary line there was Prindable. Looks like someone's maybe doing a little bit of work, almost like the old working from home setup in the Zoom meeting on the laptop out on the other side of the ground there. It's a sharp bit of work for a Saturday morning.
Maybe they've got the Fox Footy broadcast up on their laptop.
Yeah, very good call, Geordie, quite possibly. Sullivan, he just took it off the platter that Di Mattia was offering. There you go. That's you just need the little background on the Zoom meeting. Yeah, I'm in the office, working away. Well, handball over the top there from Reece Torrent, who's been instrumental for Brisbane so far. Good kill on that contest from Brady Gray. Had a teammate fall across him there, which wasn't helping his case in getting back to his feet. And then a couple of Lions in on the tackle inside the defensive 50, not allowing Prindable any room to breathe. Kennedy with the clearing kick out of defence for the Pies. It'll bounce out of play in front of Padaski. And so Zakostelski can send it back in for Brisbane. Versatile young prospect, Zane Zakostelski. Almost spilt in the direction of Prindable. Sullivan was there first for the Pies. Parker so creative. Brady Gray was back to his feet there. And then the nice little step. Made the good decision with the handball. Parker couldn't get rid of it. Good tackle again from Brain. No free kick on offer. How do you assess the play of Brady Gray there, Geordie, your defensive coach down at the Pies AFLW team?
He must have the roller skates on. He had 2 misfires, and then he went to step inside and slipped over as well. I think he'd be a bit frustrated with that.
So your advice so far is to bring the screw-ins next time?
That's it. That's it.
Just bring something with stops. Don't bring the roller skates. Noah Howe's in defence for the Pies. Cuts a kick up the middle. Coleman will take it away. Seen him deployed mostly ahead of the footy. 2 goals in the opening term. The first 2 goals of the game for the Lions upon return from a hamstring injury. Chance here for Tilley, who weaves his way through the forward 50 and sums it up beautifully.
just arched it back, did Tilly there. He was under pursuit by Noah Howes, and he just couldn't make the gap. It was. We were talking about Brady Gray and having a little bit of a joke, but that was a crucial moment just to get some territory there, and the Pies were just stopped by the Brisbane. They were quite aggressive with the way they set up to generate this Tilly goal.
And it feels like a bit of deja vu. The first 2 or 3 minutes of each quarter now, Collingwood have had the first couple of chances just to kick a goal or to put some pressure on Brisbane. They haven't taken them, and then 3 minutes into the quarter, Brisbane go forward, their first opportunity, and really kick a goal.
Been a similar story that's played out, as you say, Goldie. Tilly with his 6th goal of the season, debuted against Geelong earlier in the year at VFL level for the Lions. High footy inside the arc here again for Brisbane. Curtin the target. Howes had it slip through his grasp. John Smith there to lay the tackle, the last up. Goal for him in that opening term for Brisbane. They kicked 6 in the first, 4 in the second, 1 already here in the third. Hannibal throws his boot at it, had 17 in that first half, and was pretty gassed, as we heard him with Steph as well. That's not a good sight there. A little injury concern for Reece Torrent, that hobbling off with that right leg. So we'll get Steph Clarkson to keep an eye on Torrent as inside forward 50 go the Pies. And Will Hayes takes the mark, just testing out that shoulder that he injured a few weeks ago, Geordie. He, as you were telling us pre-game, he brings a lot of energy to this Collingwood team. Yeah,
he's so well loved. When he came in, it was hard to get a word out of him. I don't think I heard him speak for the first 6 months of him being there, but very quickly he was taken in by the boys, and he's always bouncing around, and a very great energy to have in between the 4 walls.
I saw the video of draft night for Will Hayes, the family home as well, which is part of his story. He sums things up here from in front of the sticks and misses. So 3 goals, 9 now for Collingwood. Good to have Will Hayes back out there. It's his 2nd VFL game of the season. He's featured a lot at AFL level for the Pies. And Craig McRae's spoken in recent weeks about the fact that they sort of finally have some selection pressure at AFL level for Collingwood. They haven't been blessed with great depth through injuries this year, so that selection pressure is something he hasn't felt that they've had, and now finally they've got some players who are performing at VFL level and trying to push up into the seniors. So important for any side. Hayes kicks inside forward 50. Coleman thought it maybe should have come to him at half forward. McCarthy battles hard. Howes, and the Pies defence will stand up. A bruising bump there on Woden from Coleman. Left him on the ground, and Saxena's had a bit of a slip at an inopportune moment. There's the lime-coloured boots of Reece Torrent, testing things out along the boundary. Have a look at this from Kadeen Coleman. That looks like that's all play on and fair. Just got Woden in an uncomfortable spot.
Perfectly executed tackle there. Play gives away the handball, make sure he can't follow up and get another possession.
He's looked powerful and explosive today, though, Kadeen Coleman, Goldie.
Absolutely. He started the game unbelievably well, and he's just doing enough now to show that he's probably got enough minutes under his belt. I wouldn't surprise he gets called up next week or the week after.
Kangaroos best and fairest Todd Goldstein running his eye over things this morning alongside Collingwood AFLW Vice-Captain Geordie Allen as the Pies transition it beautifully, and Big Brin's latched onto it.
Again, I've loved the work of Lockie Sullivan. It might have just been an inconsequential disposal there, but he was able to shape the ball back through the corridor, which allowed the ball to end up in the hands of Bryn Teakle. His leadership has been on show today, and that's what we heard from Lokes in the first at quarter time.
Bryn Teakle ambles in, leaves his kick out to the right. Of course, sister Julia's on Port Adelaide's AFLW list. Geordie, the co-vice captain there. Talented sporting family. Aberley in from full-back. Rain marked the kick. The Lions will try and carve their way up the wings here at Coburg City Oval once more. They've done it with relative ease so far. Coleman went very, very casually at that one, and then absolutely had it thrown back to him. Umpire waves play on. Sharp hands there from Ethan Duke. Annabelle to the pocket. McCarthy and Smith. Smith's thrown across the boundary line. Again, resolute stuff by De Bolfo.
Just read that well there, De Bolfo, and crucial 2v1 win here, waiting for another teammate to show up and give him a hand.
Very reliable back there. Collingwood colours is Ben De Bolfo. Sullivan to Kennedy. Gray for the Pies. The lone player out there in the long sleeves this morning. Haven't necessarily been required. Clouding over a bit now, but we started in bright sunshine with the dew on the ground reflecting off the surface. Brady Gray brings a lot of experience to this team. The Tasmanian played 41 games for Fremantle at AFL level. Bursting run from Tilly, got dragged off it by Di Mattia, no free kick. Di Mattia goes back in. Tilly pinches it at the end of the chain and gives it back to Di Mattia. Got some kind of agreement. Surges it back the other way for Brisbane. No further than Howes. And then a bruising tackle laid by Curtis McCarthy.
Seems to be every single time there's a high ball, we're having multiple Magpies fly, but the balance at ground level from Brisbane's just been better. When the ball spills, they're able to mop it up and get it back going their way.
Look at the leading possession winners on the ground too, Geordie. A lot of them are Brisbane's defenders, and the lowest possession winners on the ground are a lot of Collingwood forwards.
That's it.
So Padaski's had it 3 times, West 4, Smith 4 before he came out of the game, Saxena 7. And you've got the likes of Joyce and Lloyd who've had double-figure possessions for Brisbane in defence. Brain spears it into the pocket. Lovely delivery, lace out for Kadeen Coleman. Two to this end in the first term. Not going to have the purchase on the kick. And it was offline in any case. Joel Cochran will get things started again for the Magpies. Whacks it long to Bolfo with a rise. That's an impressive mark. You love to see that from your key defenders. Thompson then almost missed his boot with the kick, trying to send it forward for Collingwood. Got a hand on it before it spilled out of play. That's a nice one for the Defenders Union, Geordie.
That'll get him up and about.
Used a nice platform of a ruckman as well, so it was a good idea to use the ruck.
Yep. So after Nick Thompson was going to take the free, it's changed around to be a Brisbane ball. Marshall passed it off to Fergus McFadden. Brother Connor was on the Lions list for a couple of years. Smith into the pocket, and McCarthy has taken the mark, going back with the fly. And he'll have a reasonably tough shot from the pool pocket.
I feel like the Collingwood defenders got caught out there by a bit of confusion about whose free kick it was. They were just out of position there and weren't able to get back to their men.
They had a lot of time to set up, though. I know that there was a bit of confusion, maybe they thought it was the Magpie free kick, but there was a lot of time to prepare.
Around the body goes McCarthy. Plenty of air underneath the footy. And the desired result as well. And he gets those Lions.
From Brisbane at the moment, whenever they win the ball, they seem to have a really good balance of when to kick and when to handball. We heard from Steph at halftime, overhearing the address at halftime was that they wanted to kick a little bit more, but I still think that when they do use their hands, they're using it at the right time, they're able to possess the ball, and that was a clear possession chain that led to a McCarthy goal.
I think that's a big difference in the game at the moment. You know, Brisbane are probably going at 2.5 kicks per handball at the moment, whereas Collingwood are almost 2 handballs to every kick. And they're just putting themselves under more and more pressure. They're just referring the pressure onto their teammate and then having a dump kick it to the Brisbane defenders waiting down the line.
It's been the Chris Fagan method, that proficiency by foot. The Lions executing it nicely. here today, coming off a 61-point win. So their 3 wins have been pretty wide so far this year, 38-61 for their 2 victories so far, and up by 50 at the moment as McCarthy fights for it again. McFadden's been quiet up front for Brisbane. Haven't seen a great deal of him just yet. He's had DeBolfo for company for a lot of the day. Dangerous kick to centre-half back, turned over. Curtin turns the corner, kicks inside the 50 and finds Murphy. Ben Murphy with a couple already. The Irishman from County Kerry faced off against Mark O'Connor in the All-Ireland Grand Final last year before making his way down to Australia. As we've said a couple of times, 13 goals won on the season. He drilled one at the other end. It's been a very pretty copybook for him so far this season in front of goal. That one is not quite where he would have liked it. And he's really let his colours down so far this year, kicking 13 goals, 2 goals.
Just saying that, you know, despite kicking straight, he doesn't get away from the commentator's curse.
Exactly. Really trying to talk that one into existence. 51 points now, the lead for Brisbane.
I was waiting for a Murphy's Law reference.
Oh, solid. Good from you. Very good from you. Phillips striding through the 50. To the pocket. Padaski, beautiful gather. Farmed it off to Saxena, who drove it into the post.
It's one you'd like to drop there. We're talking about the balance between kicking and handballing. It looked like Collingwood, when they got it going, they got a great inside 50. Saxena just couldn't get it done.
This Lions team's been so dangerous coming back the other way all day. Left footer in Watts toward half forward. Falkhead got pushed off it. Chain it forward again. Watts, Tilly, Torrance back out there. Good to see. Used it well on that occasion for Beacon. Terrific desperation from Phillips. That was a goal-saving tackle. And now the Pies can possess it. Kennedy comes out to half-back and finds the safety of West.
Brilliant work right there by Phillips. He generated that inside 50 that resulted in the Saxena behind, and is the one working back to get a fingertip onto the jersey of the Brisbane forward there.
More to Zach Ostelski, who kicks to half forward, and Charlie West now doing it in defence. Going to run and dash, coming back the other way through Ryan. Bulkhead it was to Gray inside the 50. Thompson at the top of the square, just couldn't keep it alive. 3-12 now, the Pies, after that one's rushed through.
You mentioned West there. Both times that he's presented high, he's made great decisions by foot, which has unlocked that Collingwood offence, which has been hard to come by. He's only had the 7 disposals, but a couple in those most recent chains that have been crucial in them going forward.
That's you're looking for. There's that little bit of versatility from players that might not be getting the service they'd like at the other end.
Well, and that's it. Get him involved in the game rather than sitting deep. Rotate him up the ground with Padaski.
Falkhead to Gray again. Out of the pocket. Wonderful defensive fist from Zach Ostelski, utilising his length to reach across McCarthy. That is a decisive effort. You think of the, again, we keep talking about this tall timber, but you Ty Gallop, who's playing at either end at the moment at the AFL level, and they've got this guy playing at VFL level, Goldie, who can do much the same.
It's incredible just the amount of tall talent this Brisbane Lions side has.
Torrent, beautiful ball. He dropped it right into the bucket for McCarthy there. Curtis McCarthy of Brisbane. That's not his best to half forward. Howes led McFadden to it. McFadden with 8 goals in his last 3 games, kicked 4 last week, and Howes and The Collingwood defence, De Bolfo have done a really good job on him so far. Di Mattia, nice kick in. Bright coloured boots. As we said, plays his local footy at Eagle Hawk in the Bendigo League with 4 other Thompsons. He's the only one of them that isn't related to the other 4. Plying his trade with the Pies here at VFL level. He won't quite have the journey there. And Curtin gets back to thump it through.
The differential in terms of scoring opportunities and scoring shots actually hasn't been significant. There's 16 to Collingwood, just in accuracy, 13 behinds. Majority of those, if they go through for goals, it's a very different story here.
-4 in terms of entries on the day, 39 to 35. Brisbane +38 for marks, +45 for kicks. As is the method for this Lions team. Di Mattia caught Annabelle on the hop. Ball does spill free eventually. And Padaski will get a good look at them from the pocket. Centres it up. Does the unselfish thing, and Charlie West now has his chance.
And finally then Collingwood were able to get a handball to a player actually into time and space to be able to use the footy. They weren't just referring the pressure to the teammate, which has happened a lot this game.
A couple of bags of 4 so far this year for Charlie West. He earned his crack at the top level. He's trying to get back there. Plays like that'll do his chances no harm. His first of the day, Collingwood's first of the second half.
You can see why he's someone who's spent a bit of time at the top level, despite coming back into this VFL team. He's got 9 disposals, 4 score involvements, a couple of marks up the ground. We're speaking about him briefly, his ability to work up the ground and then also mark overhead. He's number 5 in the competition so far for contested marks. So he's absolutely someone that they look for going down forward, and works really well with Padaski down there too.
Has not had a game at VFL level this season with less than 2 scoring shots, so 1 goal 1 this afternoon. Even the game that he went goalless, he kicked 4 behinds, so he hasn't been short of an opportunity up front. Collingwood on the board in a major sense here in this second half. Thompson now operating a little bit higher up the ground for the Pies. Falkhead through the middle, made it awkward for Parker.
Does that count as a contested mark if you take it on your teammate?
Well, it was certainly a contest there. Whether it's a manufactured contest or not.
Might have to.
The small players will always say it was, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I think the Brisbane player might have been close enough to take that out of the conversation, I think.
We can pay that for Parker, and here's Jai Saxena. So 3 behinds on the day, and he's been really lively up front for them. Can he finish his work here? He can't. Gets himself down. 4 behinds for Jai Saxena. Lions by 41. There's a lot to like about what they've put together today, and think about from an AFL level. So Keen Coleman with a couple of goals. And as we mentioned, Zorko McCluggage, Duday, and Will McLaughlin all on the road to return. As Parker's worked hard into defence to support that Collingwood backline and intercept on this occasion. Ryan's kick batted down, parried away. Little step there was clever from Duke. Torrent on the up. They fashion it nicely. And Coleman will mark it right on the goal line and put it through for his 3rd. He flat out pinched that, did Kitty Coleman.
Smith might have been, if it wasn't Kitty Coleman who was standing in the square, you might have had a few words to say.
Well, Dylan Smith, of course, got robbed of a mark at the other end as well in the second quarter, and he was flat about it.
He's doing absolutely everything right.
And he's thinking, oh, that's curling the right way. You've marked it just inside the post. Come on, Kitty.
I think Kitty was looking back as well, thinking, come on, I'll run past for a handball receive and I'll give it to you. I don't need to put this one through. I've got 2 already.
He almost looked surprised there was no
3,
Collingwood
sorry.
players around him.
Yeah.
That seemed a bit of a shock to Coleman there.
Harry Kennedy getting a bit of work done. Maybe on an adductor, he's had some pain relief as well. Trying to get moving to keep fighting away in this second half for the Pies. Third goal for Coleman. Breaks a run of back-to-back goals for the first time. Almost in the day for the Pies. Been able to stitch a couple together, but they've had plenty of opportunities. And Ryan wins the free kick back there in defence. Jacob Ryan, who dealt with a foot injury late last year, 12 games in each of his past seasons. He's had an opportunity at VFL, intelligent knock on there. Put that in the review meeting during the week, Geordie. Now Prindable, left foot kick inside the arc. Not quite where he wanted it. Hayes had a couple to beat. The Lions again can just fashion the exit in any way they want. Watts was looking for Evans, and it was belted away from him by Sullivan.
It's been a better quarter by Collingwood just to be able to get a bit of forward connection. They've had 11 inside 50s for 7 shots on goal, but that 7 shots on goal has been 1 goal 6, which has been the issue for them.
Story of their day, having kicked 4-14. Hayes tried the knock onto his own advantage there and got a hold of White Greenaway when he didn't have the footy. Brain goes somewhat dangerously across defensive 50. Work out though, Aberley on the diagonal into the middle of the ground for Annabelle. Tilly's got Marshall on the broadcast side if he wants him. He did. Now Marshall plays his way up to half forward for Evans. Evans has got the forward 50 ahead of him. And the options that present. Parker dragged down by McCarthy. Strong tackle.
Parker's had a strong quarter. Seems to be every single time Brizzy go forward, he has a hand in it. 6 disposals so far, as we see.
Ben DeBolfo not particularly happy with the tackle there from Curtis McCarthy, who then goes and lays another one on one of his teammates. Brady Gray with a deft little step. Tumbled it out to Prindable. Outside of the hand to get it back to Brown. His kick up the line is turned over. Lloyd will intercept for Brisbane. Lions have played 1 fewer game than most other teams in the competition, so Essendon, Sydney, North, Carlton, Southport and the Suns in their run home. Big pack at full forward. Bodies collide everywhere. There's a whistle on play and it's a Collingwood whistle. A little bit of dash there from Cochrane. Overcooked the hand pass to Falkhead, who slipped out of the tackle, got taken high in the process. Oscar Falkhead now looks defensively. And that'll go through for an own behind, as it were. .48 points, the margin. Lions got it out to 50. And it is all Brisbane as we turn for home. They are dominating this game at Coburg this afternoon, turning it into their own Lions den. 86 placed 38 with a quarter to play as part of your Super Saturday here on Fox Footy. Three-quarter time at Coburg VFL as part of your Super Saturday on Fox. Here's how it's played out so far. Kenny Coleman got off to a flying start in his return from injury with the first goal of the game. That got the locals happy. And it has been all the Lions since then. Cody Curtin, Kobe Evans, Sam Tilley. And it hasn't made the young Collingwood supporters too much smile too much so far in this game. They trail by 48 points with a quarter to play. Chris Fagan watching on, enjoying what his Lions have delivered so far. Joel Peterson, Geordie Allen, Todd Goldstein and Steph Clarkson with you here. Three-quarter time, the Lions with a decisive lead, and they've had a number put their hands up so far, and Curtis McCarthy's been one of them. A bag of goals last week for him with 5 goals won. He's done it in different ways, but he's provided a very physical presence up front for the Lions, Goldie.
Yeah, I think that's it, Joel. I think it's just the presence he provides, whether it's taking some big marks, whether it's hitting players in tackles and making those tackles stick. And he's obviously having an impact on the scoreboard with 2 goals won. So it's been a pretty good all-round game from Curtis.
He's got in a couple of little skirmishes so far. Ben DeBolfo not particularly enjoying his work in that third quarter either. They've had an even spread up front, even without a big game from Fergus McFadgen today. The Lions inside forward 50. They've still been able to manufacture what they needed from a scoring perspective. And yeah, Curtis McCarthy has been impressive up front for them so far. A couple of big marks, and as we mentioned, Geordie, just that physical edge that he brings to the contest.
That physical edge, that aggression, you love that from a forward. Usually the defenders are the enforcers, but you often find that the most effective and the most annoying forwards are the ones who have a little bit of aggression themselves. Kind of reminds me of a Dakota Davidson in the AFLW, but no, he's been magnificent today, has rocked up and turned up for his teammates when they've needed him.
Haven't seen the Sallies like Dax rolls out, though. Let's get the Lions side of thing and go down to Steph.
Joined here by Scotty Boulay. Scotty, great first 3 quarters. What was the message at three-quarter time?
Yeah, a lot of what we've done has been really good in terms of the pressure. We know they're going to potentially come through the corridor a bit more this quarter. So, again, being relentless with that pressure, and hopefully from that we'll get turnovers and get our looks inside 50 as well.
And how good is it to have Kitty Coleman in the side?
Yeah, I don't know if we'll have him for too long, but he's such a valuable asset, either forward or back. So he's great to have. And yeah, as I said, I don't know if we'll have him for too much longer.
Thanks so much for joining us, Scotty. Good luck for the rest of the game.
Thanks, Steph.
So second of this final term underway, almost the opportunity up front to start. West wasn't paid the mark, had to offload it. Caught him off guard a little bit, perhaps, and Zach Ostelski, who's been very, very impressive down back today, Goldie.
Absolutely, yes. Yeah, all the Brisbane defenders, when the high balls come in, have looked very safe. But Collingwood, with the 6-6-6, have kicked it to their Brisbane opponents too many times coming out of those centre clearances today.
We saw St Kilda's list team here of Steve Silvani and Graham Allen earlier, just observing things, seeing who they might be able to go after, and yeah, this man would have caught a few eyes with his performance. He's clearly caught the eye of Chris Fagan and the Brisbane match committee as well throughout the course of the year.
And that's what's going to start to happen. With the amount of tools that Brisbane have, there's going to be some that aren't getting a game and are going to look for opportunities elsewhere.
Hayden McLean kicked 3 for the Swans last night at AFL level. He's one that we've spoken about as part of our coverage throughout the year, as maybe being able to explore his options at the end of the year. Just short of a game. West not rewarded with the free kick for the tackle there. Teakle on the little pirouette, hooked it back over his shoulder and missed. And he's part of the back end of the season for these players who are applying their trade at VFL level in terms of what the opportunities and what the future might hold for them. Those conversations being had now. Sam Marshall's one of those. Clubs are picking up the phone to reach out to the young, uncontracted Brisbane Talents management team, and he's just biding his time to try and work his way back into the team that he won a premiership with last year. Lions deep in defence here. Hayes worked that pretty well in the end. Cody Curtin's been impressive once more. It's the 8 disposals, but 2 goals. Smith had it bashed away by DeBolfo. Falls to Gray, outside of the boot. Didn't have a lot of room to work with there, and it floats out of bounds.
Certainly has. Him and Joyce, between the two of them, are They've got 7 intercept marks between the two of them and 15 marks altogether for the game. So they are just mopping absolutely everything up. Doesn't help that Collingwood are forcing those long balls. It's quite predictable for Zach Ostelsky and Joyce to set up when they keep forcing it inside 30 rather than chip and explore other options offensively.
Here's Marshall to Beacon, who gives them so much run and drive. Terrific defensive effort. A really critical intervention there from Oscar Falkhead going back with the flight. And he puts his fist through it with some feeling. And big Henry Smith closing on him. Didn't shirk the issue. Coe front spot, decisively down to Gray, who ran into a wall of Lions jumpers. Squeezing the kick through the traffic there was Coleman. And behind, Scott Borlase told Steph at quarter time, not sure he'll have Kitty Coleman on his books for too much longer. 15 disposals and 3 goals, 2 today for the dynamic, dashing Lion. Pies go straight up the middle. Padaski and Zach Ostelsky chased out toward the boundary line, and for a moment we had a very, very nervous trainer there on the boundary line.
I would be too.
Big Zane coming at a solid rate of knots.
Bit flushed.
Yeah, they're just discussing what would you have done if he couldn't put the brakes on. Beautiful bit of roving from Phillips. Just couldn't spring himself free of the tackle. Sullivan through the traffic. Kennedy's back out there. He's wrapped up, not going anywhere. What do you imagine Matty Loken's message would have been to his group at three-quarter time, Goldie, this Collingwood team?
I think it's probably starting to build for next week. Try and get some confidence in their ball movement. Try and get some players just feeling good about themselves, because the game's not out of it, but it's going to be a hard road getting back into it for this week.
Brady Gray misses that one. Away to the right. They've got the Kangas next week, the Pies. And St Kilda, I think that game at Marvel Stadium, for memory, that VFL clash between Collingwood and North Melbourne next week. The Pies dealing with some ground unavailability issues at the moment between Victoria Park being out of action. Evans up toward half forward. Right to the edge of the 50 now. Dylan Smith has been robbed of a couple so far today. He does the unselfish thing there and finds Beacon in an acre of space. Some really good vision back into the middle.
Bit of frustration there from Harry Kennedy. He'd worked hard on the off-ball side and just seemed to look up the ground as if to say, who was coming with me on that slide? He slid to the deepest player and no one else had covered him prior to that defensive slide pattern.
Beacon kicked a goal from a really similar spot here on the run in the second quarter. He's not going to have the carry, or it did get there. That ball just about went into reverse right on the goal line, and Ryan's taken it as a mark.
That was bizarre that Ryan didn't come to meet that there. He was almost happy for it to float over for a goal.
The footy hit some kind of invisible force field or something and just stopped. The good old-fashioned Coburg wind tunnel got a hold of that one. Joyce dropped it in the tackle. Gray's not going to be rewarded. Probably should have been. So Ryan thinks it's going through for a point. Oh, gee.
Give him the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
He read that perfectly. He knew where the line was.
Yeah.
Well, the goal umpire's right on the spot as well and was definitive in the call. That was an odd one. The ball swung violently. Sullivan might have had it bounce off his bonce there on the way through. Brain rolls the handball forward. Slap back the other way by Taj Woden. Woden has another play at it. Barrels his way through a couple of tackles. Pies can fashion something off half-back. Brian's kick is an expansive one. Taken down low. Phillips, who pops it over the top. And some good counter-attacking play from the Pies. And Will Hayes is on the end of it all.
Saxena just tells him, back yourself in, have a kick. Has he got the journey, Todd?
Well, the way the ball held up going the other direction, I think with the wind behind him, I think the journey shouldn't be an issue for him.
Nice play out, a defensive 50 from the Pies. They had it down the other end in a flash. Will Hayes would dearly enjoy goal upon return. And he gets the chance to do so now. First goal of the second half goes the way of Collingwood, and to Will Hayes coming back from that shoulder injury.
Reward for 7 inside 50s there. They had 3 repeat entries early on in the quarter, and then Brizzy were able to take it back the other way. But I love this build-up here, that ability from Phillips to find Hayes going. That instead of forcing, I feel like early on in that quarter, that kick from Phillips would have gone inside 30, back to where Brisbane's numbers are, but he just was able to shape it in corridor and find a free player.
They needed a bit of a reward from their 7 inside 50s for the quarter as well. I think they've had 18 for just 2 goals in this second half.
We're a little bit sheltered in our vantage point. Steph, was he kicking with a bit of breeze assistance there?
He sure was. The wind's picked up a little bit, guys, in little bits of patches. It's been a west-southwesterly all day, but we had a little bit more of a southwesterly now. So favouring Collingwood and not favouring Brisbane this quarter.
Thanks, Steph. Collingwood kicking to the northern end, the Pentridge prison end in this last quarter. See some of the movement of the eucalypts there. The deciduous trees not exactly helping us all that much with gauging what the wind's doing on that outer side so far. There's the mighty Coburg Lions flag. The Lions will be in action against the Giants tomorrow at VFL level. Still going to be a Lions team that runs out winners in this one this morning. Of course, VFL action coming your way tomorrow as well as part of Sunday Ticket. Essendon and St Kilda kicks off the day before the Bombers and the Saints do battle at AFL level. You'll be down on the bench tomorrow, Goldie.
I will be looking forward to that one. Should be quite a good game.
Prindable stepping through, got onto his left boot, inside forward 50, and Joyce safely sees it through for a rushed score. Going to finish the day with having had plenty of opportunities here, the Pies. And good pressure there from Brady Gray to win the footy back for Collingwood inside forward 50. And I reckon that'll get the tick of the approval from the Pies AFLW defensive unit.
That was a very impressed nod at the head when that tackle was laid.
Put it on the edit.
He actually went to play on there, and I thought he was going to undo all of his hard work, but they've actually swung him forward this quarter. And I'm sure we'll be hearing about it for days if he puts this through.
So the man who's been signed up as the Pies AFLW defensive coach, he's in front of the sticks here. When you wander down and you get the chance, you need to go back and stick it through. And Brady Gray's done just that. And that might come up in a meeting or two around the KGM Centre this week.
Is there a tad bit of disappointment behind that smile, Geordie? Just the fact that he's actually done some good things?
He's done well today, other than the only thing I've got on him is when he put himself on rollers. Example, I've been watching his corralling craft. He knows that if he gets in too tight into the hula hoop, he might get stepped, but that's perfect there. Just force the defender to put himself on the ice skates. Was able to go back and put it through. Well done, Brady.
First time the Pies have got back-to-back goals all day. All kinds of fans in here this afternoon at Coburg. We'll be sending you to the Hawks and the D's as soon as we're done here down at UTAS Stadium. Kelly Underwood and the team for a big game. Maybe the D's trying to still keep their hopes of a top 6 finish alive. The Hawks very much in the frame for that. They're very tough to beat down there in Lonnie. No doubt it'll be about 25 and sunny down there in Launceston today. Torrance. Neat little kick inside forward 50. Just slipped through the hands of Murphy. Prindable's there to mop up for Collingwood. Almost kicked it to the runner. Will Hayes luckily was right alongside. Now Prindable gallops through the middle of the ground. Puts the Pies deep inside 50. Zach Stelcy couldn't hang on to it. Saxena goes to ground. He's dispossessed by a couple. Di Mattia has to turn tackler and lock it up inside 50 for Collingwood.
Saxena just needed to keep his feet there. I know he's a lighter frame. These Brizzy defenders have probably got the best part of 20 or 30 kilos on him. Back your speed in and your low centre of gravity.
It's equal to Printable, who got caught just as he was looking to shape up onto his left. Tilly wins it back for Brisbane. Marshall inside defensive 50. 23rd disposal for Sam Marshall. Interestingly, hasn't been credited with a score involvement among all that he's done so far in the game. Parker fighting for it. Ethan Duke. And we're locked up in front point of the square. It's been a much better first 15 or so minutes of this final term for Collingwood. See there, doing a good job. The stuff in close. The territory battle favouring the Pies as well. Oh, Evans spent it before he had it and got big on him in an awful hurry. Took the bounce, almost couldn't get boot to ball. Hayes floats into mark for the Pies. He bounces it up to centre half forward and there's no one at home. Joyce, part of another intercept chain for Brisbane. Could have been Lloyd or Abel. And McCarthy's on the end of it looking for a third. Highlighted his work at three-quarter time. Just provided them with a really physical presence up there today. 17 goals on the season. As we saw earlier in the term, and Steph told us, not easy to kick to this end at this stage of the contest. McCarthy keeps that one low and keeps it narrow, very narrow. Out of bounds on the full. A couple of lost seagulls floating around the place as well.
Long way from home.
Yeah, not exactly Bayside here in Coburg. The lake down the road, just over the back of the prison, but that's about as close to any body of water as they're going to get. Another turnover forced by the Lions. And you see the uncontested marks in the game, just that facet that they have absolutely dominated. As is the method that they want to get their winning done in. Brown through the middle. Printable's run. McCarthy. Di Mattia sizes it up. Beautiful finish. And a great bit of transition footy from the Pies for their third on the bounce.
That was the way to do it. I think they have a good bit of outnumber run there. At times they're trying to use that handball when maybe they don't have the outnumber running with them, but they were just going downhill here. And great work to work forward by Harry Di Mattia. I think he's been brilliant today, actually. 18 disposals, 5 score involvements, 8 contested possessions himself. He's worked tirelessly.
After a weird game last week where he was named as an AFL emergency, only had the 5 touches, didn't really get a look at it, so he'd been in good form and then he has a little bit of a down game. He'd be thrilled to bounce back in a good way today. Yeah,
and that's what a lot of the coaches are looking for as well, is how you bounce back from any sort of challenge that presents itself, and the Collingwood, Craig McRae will be rapt to see how he's responded today.
Nearly as rapt as the youngsters that we saw at three-quarter time, which they weren't particularly happy, and they're making plenty of noise. The Collingwood goals here in the last. De Bolfo tried to shrug off Coleman and then had a couple of others adding to his problems. And he and Curtis McCarthy get reacquainted. Curtis McCarthy absolutely believed that should have been a free kick. Brady Gray scrambles it out of there. Brain reaches over the top of Thompson. Kept it alive, but I don't want anyone on the ground. 10 clearances as well for the Pies midfielder. Great part of VFL Footy is the crowd advice that comes in. Not sure whether 55 wasn't planning to get into him or not. Prindable lays the tackle. There's a big pack of players around the footy. It's not going to come out.
It's a big difference between playing in front of, you know, usually average 60 to 70,000 with the Pies. A lot more of the communication is what your body language is saying. So that's a crucial part of being able to communicate at the top level, and probably something that distinguishes the great communicators from those who remain at VFL level and quite can't crack it.
Hayes kicks to the pocket. Another bit of lightning transition as Saxena's dragged down. Good insights there from Geordie Allen alongside Todd Goldstein. It's part of our team on Fox Footy. Big day coming up. Super Saturday, Hawthorn, Melbourne, GWS and Freo on 5:03. Gold Coast, Collingwood, Richmond, Carlton on Fox Footy throughout the course of the afternoon. Imagine Scott Borlase would be a little bit disappointed with the way that Brisbane's sort of finishing off here in terms of just the one behind so far in the quarter.
It's really sort of been the whole second half. They've just sort of taken their foot off the pedal a little bit and made this Collingwood side a little bit more competitive and a little bit more in this game.
Pies are certainly sniffing the opportunities now. Margin back under 5 kicks. McFadgen's come all the way up to half-back and just wanted to slow things down momentarily, and then Archie Watts does the same, so maybe a bit of situational stuff coming into the Lions game. They'll win it back immediately to Bolfo. Prindable. Driving entry. Teakle one grab, not the second. And then off the loose ball, he tried to create something into the pocket for West.
Collingwood are now winning the inside 50 count. They've had more shots on goal, so as much as it felt like Brisbane have controlled this game, if they had been a bit more effective in front of goal, it would have been a completely different story.
Lions led by as many as 51 earlier in the contest. Took a decisive advantage in no time whatsoever, and now an opportunity at the stoppage, and Lockie Sullivan just adds to his day, an 11th clearance of the contest. And
the equivalent of a triple-double, I reckon, in the AFL. He's had 27 disposals, 11 clearances, 16 contested possessions and a goal. And his leadership, we touched on it briefly, but he's been setting players up. The way he's been able to use the ball and bring others into the game. It seems every single time Collingwood have been struggling to find themselves in this game, he's popped up and given them something to look forward to.
He's also leading the game in tackles as well with 5. So it's been an all-round great game here by Sullivan.
And they get the margins back under 4 goals. A little bit like what we had last week with Carlton and Werribee, where the Blues made a run at the end of the game. Maybe there's just a little bit of sniff for Collingwood here. Tilly's trying to cut out any threat. Kicks it a mile to full forward. McCarthy lurking around there. But they are resolute. Down back the Pies. Ryan, Gray. Phillips on the wing. That's a big contest win. Now Brown. Sharp that'll give over the top for McCarthy. Prindable's been good in this last term. Sends it long. But wayward.
Seems like every handball now is to a Collingwood player in space, which we didn't see for the first 2.5 quarters of this game. And it's made such a difference the way they've been able to move this footy.
They'll need to make every post a winner. Here the Pies. Brisbane yet to kick a goal in the final term. Collingwood have kicked 4 goals 4. Lions just trying to control the footy and take a bit of the sting out of it. Lloyd down the line for Watts, and now Smith. It's a nice infield kick from the big fella. Found McFadgen, who immediately on the up gave it. One of Watts coming past. Coleman pops it inside 50. No one on the end of it. Of course, Sullivan was there. Collingwood can try and run it down the middle once more. Prindable will be a part of the chain. Had to just turn into the knock-on in the end. Hands and knees stuff crawling after the footy was Cochrane. He couldn't catch up with the bouncing ball. Howes brings it to ground. Sullivan's there. Just continues to amass disposal after disposal. Thompson's energised them. And his kick for West. He had Joyce bearing down on him, and Dara Joyce forced it to the boundary line. It's all Collingwood here in this last term, and they might just run out of time. They've certainly given us something to enjoy in these closing stages. Nice fans hoping they can snag a win on the Gold Coast a little bit later on this afternoon as part of Super Saturday on Fox. Big game for the Gold Coast Suns, that one, after 5 losses in a row. Impressive mark there. Taken by Watts. And now the opportunity for Fergus McFadyen. They've been hard to come by up front for McFadyen today. Kicked 4 goals, 1 last week. He kicked 5 against the Pies in the corresponding game last year.
Feels like Brisbane has got a bit of a game management now. This shot on goal is more about the time off the clock rather than the actual result of what happens with this kick.
$12 goals, 4 on the season for Fergus McFadyen. Missed to snuff out any challenge. He misses to the left-hand side. It remains a 4-score game.
And Brizzy had struggled to get that kick mark feature of their game that had, been the reason that they were able to move the ball forward so convincingly in the first half. But we just saw then as they went into that game management mode, they were able to unlock that a little bit more. Collingwood were able to hold the mark differential to under 10 for the best part of this quarter, and it's just blown out a little bit further.
As much as they couldn't attack the Pies, they've certainly got the defensive side of their game going. To illustrate there, Geordie. Marshall at the stoppage. Kept alive by Smith, Aberley, Prindable. He's had a really good last term. Sullivan, Phillips. Just a little bit too much juice on the hand pass for Di Mattia, but Will Phillips went back in and forced the footy loose. The Lions take control once more, and again they can just channel into this kick mark game. Smith will send it wide. 2-on-1 favours Collingwood. De Bolfo puts his back into it. Almost spilt for Prindable. McCarthy, it's a flat kick up to half forward. Slips through the hands of Zach Ostelski, who's been thrown into the front half of the grounds. Annabelle, barely the distance, and knocked away accordingly by Brown for the Pies. And then Tilly put his head over it and almost had his headband ripped off. Marshall finds some space, offloads to the pocket, and dropping the mark in the end, Archie Watts. Should have hung on to that one. Big tackle there from Duke in over the top. He's given away the free. So a lot to like about this last term for Collingwood. You said earlier, North Melbourne, St Kilda, Geelong, Essendon and Port Melbourne in their last 5. They'll fall to 4-9 after this. Brisbane will go to 3-9. And they've got Essendon, Sydney, North, Carlton, Southport and the Gold Coast to come with a game in hand on much of the competition. Di Mattia with an incisive kick through the middle. Sullivan strides through the 50, offloads to Badaski in the goal square. Oh, the desperation! Fantastic stuff from Lloyd on the last line. It stayed alive for Saxena. And Luke Lloyd, he looked like he was in a penalty shootout saving this one.
It's been one of those games for Mitch Pajaski, just hasn't quite just fallen his way so far.
He might have wished he was still in the red and navy coming back here to Coburg, where he kicked goals for fun for such a long time. 21 points the margin as we get closer to the completion here. 51 it was the way of Brisbane earlier in the contest. It was in that third quarter. Collingwood have kicked the last 4 goals in the game to close it down. Hawthorn and Melbourne not too far away. That's where we will send you next, as the Brisbane Lions win back-to-back games for the first time this season, and do it quite convincingly against a Collingwood team that made it difficult for them in this final term. A 21-point win. And as it often is, the Lions winners here at Coburg. They're wearing Brisbane colours today. And they go to 3-9 on the campaign. And really, it was that first half, Goldie, that set it up for them in a big way.
Yeah, absolutely. They just came with the right attitude. They came ready to play. But, you know, when your opposition kick 8 goals, 19, you minus, I think Brisbane were plus 60 in marks. It's going to be a hard day. And they were to play their way, and that's what won them the game.
Plenty of positives to take out of that last quarter for Collingwood. There's Big Illaru Smith, who we didn't see a lot of, or any of, in that second half. Came out of the game with a concussion issue in that first half. But imagine Matty Lowe going to be much more pleased with the way they closed this one out, Geordie.
I think so. I think you can see in the last quarter they were able to maintain the ball in their front half. They had more quality entries. You can see them trying to problem solve that early in the fourth quarter. They kept forcing it inside 30, especially when the Brisbane defence was set up so well. I think it was that Will Hayes goal, shot on goal, that allowed Collingwood to kind of realise this is how we access our goals, and that was the reason they kicked 4-5 in the last. They had so many scoring opportunities. Would have loved to see more go through the big sticks. Yeah,
absolutely. It was part of the story of the game, as was Kitty Coleman. On return, he was absolutely dynamic as always, and he's alongside Steph.
How's it sit on the boundary? Cold or? Yeah.
It was cold on the boundary. They just come down to us and said, you played one of the players of the game today. How'd you feel?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, first game back for myself after, I think, 5 weeks off with a hammy. So it's good to get out there and have a run around with the boys. My first game with the VFL this year. So, yeah, I'm proud of the effort. Good win. A bit scrappy at the end there, though. So.
How's the hammy feeling? You said you cramped up a little bit in the end?
Yeah, I was cramping in my quads and calves. So hammy's fine, though. You know, worked hard in rehab there, so ready. Yeah, I was sort of ready today, so.
We saw Fags on the boundary giving you a couple of bits of advice. What was he saying to you?
Yeah, just little small talks, little advice here and there for not only myself but a few other boys as well. So he's good to have down there, especially with DD as well. So yeah, good to have him.
Dan Annabelle's come back. How good is it to have these boys? You had 14 AFL listed players in this side today. You guys have been cursed a little bit with injuries. Good to finally get some boys back in the second half of this season.
Yeah, definitely. I think while in rehab there, we had a lot of top-up players, academy players, so good to have myself, Dan, even Henry Smith back last week, and hopefully we can sort of finish the year off strong and hopefully make a run for finals. Yeah.
Well, good luck, Kitty. We can't wait to see you back out there.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Cheers. Thank you.
Great to have Kitty Coleman back on the park, and he wasted no time making an impression, Goldie.
Absolutely. It's what you want to see from your AFL stars when they come back to the VFL level, coming back from rehab. It was just, he showed that explosiveness, he showed that impact, and he got through the game feeling pretty good, which is good.
Yeah, different gravy when players like this come back to this kind of level, Geordie, and he was explosive, he looked powerful, he looked strong and fit. He mentioned there a little bit of cramping up, but it's sort of one of those things, he'll be better for the run.
Absolutely, and that's the reason why they put them through the VFL, just to get their match legs under him. Clearly, his decision-making and his ability in tight hasn't wavered. It's just getting the minutes in his legs.
And he one of the all-time goal steals there on the line as well for Kitty Coleman today. Another one of the young Chargers who was impressive was Cody Curtin, who's alongside Steph.
He sure was, and he's making me look very short right now. Cody, great game from you, 2 goals.
Yeah, thank you. No, quite happy and very happy to get the win 2 in a row, so good.
And we saw you come off early in the contest. Hurt your ankle? How's that going? What happened there?
Yeah, just kicked into someone's legs. I tried to surge the ball, but just physio's checked it off and it was all good to come out.
How are you finding the form? You've got a few other Lions boys back into this squad today. It was great to get the win.
Yeah, no, it was good to get a few boys back this week, Kitty, Ty and Danny, and they definitely helped. And yeah, the first quarter and our first half was great and definitely set us up for a good win.
Beautiful. What do you think went well in that first half? You guys looked like you were really controlling the contest. You outmarked them by 30 as well.
Yeah, no, I think we just had a strong emphasis on our first and second quarters to sort of set up the game. So, yeah, no, I think our emphasis to bring the pressure, squeeze forward. We knew they were going to handball the ball forward, so just squeeze up and squeeze out, and, yeah, it worked for us.
Thanks so much for joining us. Ice up that ankle.
Perfect, thank you.
First-year player Cody Curtin. He didn't take a long time to earn his first level or crack at the top level. He sort of been in and out throughout the course of the year, Geordie, but you can certainly see the flashes of talent there.
Yeah, and 100% by foot, so that's what you want from a forward. You want them to be effective when they do get the ball in their hands, and absolutely he was. As Steph mentioned, he's a big fella, so to be able to win the ball in the air and then put it through the goals that's the key to being a quality forward.
Yeah, there's a lot of growth in his game. He was a little bit of a steal at the draft last year, and he's making good on the faith that they put in him to be selected. Of course, wasn't all about the forwards and those kicking goals today. Darragh Joyce was impassable down back, and he is with Steph.
Sure isn't always about the forwards. Darragh, great game from you, 27 disposals, really effective as well. How'd you feel down there?
Yeah, no, it was good. We're getting a few boys back this week from injury. Like, it's nice to have Danny and Kitty back, so they make it easier holding the ball in the forward 50. But yeah, no, we're getting a really solid group of boys back from injury, so it's easy to play down there.
What's it like playing with Kitty?
Yeah, no, he's a superstar. So we all know what he can do. So it's nice to see him get back, and hopefully he can get some confidence in his body.
We saw him steal a goal on the line there in his third one in the third quarter. Is he a bit like that, a little bit cheeky?
No, that wouldn't be Kitty at all. I think he'd let that through if he knew where I was going. So I think it was the right thing to do. It was going near the post. So, Kitty's as selfless as they come. So.
You guys have such young talent coming through. We saw today we had 14 AFL listed players, which is a bit different to what you guys have had for the season so far. Obviously plagued with a little bit of injury. How good is it to see these young boys stepping up and hopefully pushing for a spot in that AFL team?
Yeah, it's so good. Like, that's the magic about the VFL. Like, you can see you're playing with academy guys there. I feel like an old guy down there now. I'm 29 and I don't think there's many others up near me. So, yeah, it's really cool to play with the academy boys and see them guys train with us during the week, and like, they get the AFL experience as well. So, yeah, it's really exciting, and to be able to bring them guys through and teach them a thing or two along the way is really pleasing.
Well, these guys are waiting for you, so let you go and sing the song.
No,
great game.
Hot shower. Thanks very much.
Great to have the leadership of Darragh Joyce as part of that Brisbane defence. He was critical to cutting out a lot of Collingwood attacks today, and Brisbane get the win by 21 points. As we said, set up by what they did at the start of the game, and it was a start for the Lions that produced plenty of highlights throughout the course of the opening stages. It didn't waste much time. Kitty Coleman getting the first on the board. He followed it up with a second not long after that. But as impressive as they were in attack, Goldie, they were resolute in defence, the Brisbane team, led by the likes of Lloyd and Joyce throughout the morning.
Yeah, I think the way they were able to set up and their tools really had a big impact when Collingwood were under pressure and bombed the ball into their forward 50. So, you know, it was a game of two very different styles, and the Brisbane style of just being out of control by marks and kick mark is really what came out on top.
And you're seeing from the finishing, Geordie, as we spoke about, especially throughout the first half, just their ability to be efficient and take the opportunities that they had inside forward 50 was the difference in the game.
Yeah, well, they only won the inside 50s by one, 56 to 55. But that's what happens when you kick them through the goals. That efficiency is definitely what gave them the head start and allowed them to hold on throughout the game.
Mitch Padaski got a goal back on familiar turf for him. The former Coburg Lion out there for Collingwood today. A nice little rise from Ben de Bolfo as well. Curtis McCarthy finished with a pair of goals. That was a creative snap from the forward pocket. And then a nice one for the Collingwood AFLW defensive unit with their coach Brady Gray snagging a goal there. Plenty of run provided by Tyne Prindable in the latter stages. Harry Di Mattia finishing that one off, and a great defensive effort. Emblematic of the day there from Luke Lloyd to dive across the kick of Padaski and make sure that there wasn't another goal for he. As well, we can head into the Lions' rooms as they huddle up. 21-point winners. They go to 3-9 on the season. And take the song from the Lions' rooms. go. Very happy winners in the Lions rooms. They're next for the Bombers at home before they take on Sydney at Tramway. The Roos up in Queensland and the Blues back in Melbourne. And for Collingwood, well, they've got North Melbourne, St Kilda, Geelong and Essendon in their last 4. Super Saturday continues here on Fox. A big game in Tassie at Launceston, Hawthorn and Melbourne to get it started. Here's Kelly Underwood, Jordan Lewis.
Thank you very much to Joel Peterson. Welcome to beautiful blue skies in Launceston, Tasmania to begin our Super Saturday coverage, all thanks to the all-new Toyota BZ4X Touring. The first of 4 pivotal round 17 games, all live and exclusive on Fox Footy today. We are at the Hawks' second home and they are hosting Melbourne. The Demons playing their first ever game here in Lonnie. Can you believe that? And I'm with the Hawks' 4-time premiership star and former Demon in Jordan Lewis. And Geordie, can we call it the Jordan Lewis Cup today?
No, well, Jack Fitzpatrick, who was a star player for both teams, would be sitting at home, so he would be very cross if I didn't mention his name. But no, two great sides. I think you're right, having been down here a lot over the last 20 years, I can't remember a day like this. There's no wind, the sun is out. We ducked into the farmers market this morning, Dell and I, and what is building to be a really good game between two quality teams.
Yeah, some of us have to spend a little bit longer in hair and makeup and couldn't join you at the farmers markets. But look, they're going for 13 in a row. They have not lost here in 3 years, Hawthorn. And as I said, Melbourne have never played here. They have been decimated down back, the Hawks. I just wonder if we're in maybe a little slice of history here for the taking for Melbourne today.
Yeah, I mean, they're certainly vulnerable with the outs and key. I think you can deal with outs if there's maybe a forward, a midfielder and a defender, but when they all come in the same line, it's really difficult to try and cover that. But this is the importance of the game. I mean, Melbourne clearly have top 4 aspirations, and Hawthorn is one of those teams that sit in. So 6 points behind. If the win that they can possibly get today takes them 2 points behind Hawthorn, that is a huge victory. We talk about 8-point games come into the back end of the season. That will come around really quickly, so they would have penciled this one in, and only having played this team in recent times.
Yep, only played 6 weeks ago, back in round 10, and it's probably Hawthorn's worst loss for the season. And they do have a favourable draw all the way home. So top 2 is now not out of possibility for Hawthorn.
No, you're exactly right. So as you can see there, only 2 of those games are against top 8 sides. So that's, but there's some tricky matches. If you look at Carlton's form and I mean, West Coast over there will always be a tricky match as well. But if you compare that to Melbourne, Melbourne have 4 of the remaining 8 games against top 8 sides starting today with Hawthorn, so that is a little bit more of a difficult task.
Sitting 7th, top 4 though, definitely not out of the possibility for them. They're fresh off the bye, so their last outing was against the Adelaide Crows, where they pushed Adelaide in Adelaide, they've pushed Sydney in Sydney, but as we know with this team under Stephen King, the rookie coach, they've been brilliant in Melbourne, yet to win outside of Melbourne so far.
Yeah, so since these last 2 teams played against each other, Hawthorn have gone 4 and 5, Melbourne have gone 2 and 3, so there has been some inconsistencies. But I think when you become a good side and trying to achieve becoming a great side, you have to win on the road. I think games against top 8 sides are important, but road wins are just as important because they're difficult to do, especially against a team. I mean, Hawthorn have been here for, 25 years now, so it's a team that knows this ground really well. So the huge home advantage that they have makes it really difficult to go on the road and win against Hawthorn in Launceston, but huge game.
Nick Dalsanto's on the boundary for us this afternoon, and he's standing by with the coach of the D's, Stephen King.
Well, King, thanks a lot for your time. First time down at UTAS for quite a while, and first time for a lot of your boys. The sun's out, perfect conditions. The ground not making or looking the best. What do you make of it?
Yeah, we're blessed with the day today, Del. No wind, sun, so that makes it pretty comfortable for us. But the grounds obviously seems like it's had a bit of traffic on it, but we've had pretty good prep during the week on some heavy decks at home as well with a bit of rain, so we'll be fine.
Speaking about your prep, you don't have the best record away from home. Are you tweaking things? Are you still trying to find out your perfect formula?
Yeah, a little bit, but I feel like our last couple of trips we've played good footy. We've just fallen short against the Swans and the Crows, which they're hard to beat anyway, but we've pushed them to the line and, confident again now that we can front up and play our brand of footy.
One of the unusual things about the fixture is you played these guys 6 weeks ago. Yeah. You were successful, you got the right result. What have you made of their last 5 or so weeks? They're 4-1 since that game.
Yeah, their stoppage game's picked up, whether that's Will Day going in there. They've scored from stoppage, from centre bounce. They're playing great footy, and they're third on the ladder for a reason. So, yeah, we take confidence out of last time we've played, but it sort of means nothing today. We've got to show up again and play.
They make 5 changes. You've made 4. Does that give you some challenges about what to prepare for and what to expect today?
Oh, a little bit. Like, they've got some names out. We've got some names out as well. I'd love to have Jack Viney, who's here today in our coaches box, out there today. He'd thrive. But, there's a bit of unknown around lineups, but this time of year, that's always, you sort of sit up and don't stress too much about it, because ultimately you've got to take care of what you want to do with your team, and that's what we'll try to do today.
What is that? What do you need to get right? You did it really well 6 odd weeks ago. What is it today that you need to get right?
I think we need to, win the battle around the footy. So, like Newcombe, Day, those 2 have been key drivers for them. So we'll back our boys in, Steely and Tommy Sparrow. Those guys today, whether they have a plan for Cozzy or not, but I think also stop their intercept marking. That's how they kickstart a lot of their back half attack from that. And Gunston as well. So he's missed a bit of footy, but he'll play that sort of tip deep, I'd imagine, isolated, and that gives us a different look as well. So there's plenty to keep an eye on.
You've nearly named their whole team there.
Yeah.
They've got a lot of weapons. Is there one particular matchup that you feel like you need to get right as well on top of that midfield battle?
I think it's just constantly thinking the Gunston one. And the midfield battle, they're both quality players, so they're going to get some ball, and I just back with Gorney's influence. He can sort of help it sway in our favour a little bit around there.
Nice to spend some time with you on the bench as well. Have a great day.
Thanks, Dale. Appreciate it, mate.
Gee, hasn't put a foot wrong so far in his first season, has Stephen King. Now, the locals are saying it's a heat wave. It's currently 12 degrees, beautiful sun. But the question that Nick asked Stephen King right off the top about the surface, your thoughts? You've played here about 40 times, I would have guessed, throughout your career.
Yeah, this is the worst I've seen it, to be honest, in the last 20 years. I used to come down here and I used to tell people back in Melbourne who hadn't been here before, it is the best deck in the AFL, and that's including the MCG. So, yeah, it's sort of sad to come here and see the condition that it is, and people would be at home saying, why are you crying over a surface like this? It's still in relatively good nick compared to maybe local leagues, but certainly not at AFL standard, if you ask me.
Too much rain or too much use? Any idea what causes it as we welcome you again, Dal?
I would say a combination of both,
Okay.
Cal. So clearly there needs to be a lot of rain in a short period of time, which we believe has happened this week, and then just foot traffic. The way that we are generous with our facilities and the ovals, they've clearly shared this, and it's not at its very best, but as Stephen King spoke about then, they've played on worse. And what it's been in Melbourne for the last week or so has probably set him up perfectly for today.
I don't know whether CJ has some information, but he said because of the construction, they've turned the drainage off, which has meant that the ground is in this condition. Now, that's his words, not mine. I'm just
You're like, don't quote me.
letting you know. But there was times yesterday during the training session where a player would bounce a ball and it would just stick in the mud.
Oh, okay.
It reminded me when I played VFL in my last year at Coburg, where the cricket pitch was. So we'll see how that unfolds today.
Okay, let's drill down a little bit on these Hawks, because they're sitting pretty in third position. Rewind at the start of the season. Everyone was